All right, here we are. It is week 2 for Upper Division, and we have a big hype up matchup tonight. Not only is this a rerun from playoffs semifinals from last season, both the teams won in week 1, so somebody here will set themselves apart, be on top of the standings at 2-0 when we end tonight. I am blessed with Spirited here.
Blessed.
Blessed.
What is this? What is this blessed stuff going on here?
I am your presence here is a blessing.
I feel honored. I feel honored to be here. I'm excited to see these games. We got two very special teams going up against each other this evening in what should be a banger set, I imagine. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what these two teams have to offer, I think.
Kind of across the board when it comes to not only the teams as whole organizations. In the top lane, we have Ajuka and Smokestacks, two skirmisher fighter players. In the mid lane, we have Sinja, who actually played a key role in defeating Infernia in Season 2 finals. Now on TSI, we'll see how well he fits into this new team here, and if he's able to defeat them again. And we have the redemption arc for Brendan in the bot lane. Again, Mr. Mahagi knocked them out of playoffs last season, and he showed up. He was a little bit inconsistent. The Draven game in week 1 kind of fell flat, but then he came back on the Callista, going 10 and I think like 7. Yeah. Dominated on that Callista.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull up the match results right now as we're get ready to get into draft pretty soon here, I think. But yeah, I mean, both teams sitting at 1-1. I feel like this is this is what you kind of need in leagues early on, is getting off to an early start like this. For both teams would be really nice. I mean, going 2-0 and you don't have a whole lot of weeks really to play through, and getting an important win in a matchup like this, I feel as though is really important for both these two teams, especially playing each other so early on. This could really separate themselves from each other in the playoff brackets. Depending on who ends up getting the win and whatnot. I do imagine this could go to 3 games, however.
Absolutely. Both teams played so well during week 1 that I am almost anticipating. I feel like I know we are going to a game 3 tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do believe we are ready with our draft here, going into game number 1. It's Infernia on blue side, so should be an interesting sequence here for both teams, and they'd elect to ban the Aatrox first overall. No surprise there. A dominant top laner right now in the meta as we go into our new season.
Yeah, big comfort pick for Ajuka, which kind of answered my first question. Was I feel like for Infernia, you have to focus one of the 2 solo lanes during pick and ban. So are you going to ban out Ajuka, or are you going to ban out Sinja? You kind of got to pick one of the 2. So let's see where the priority is right here with the second ban. Yone being banned away from Isaac. Evelyn kind of being the one trick of Hero Joe in that jungle. There's the Draven taken away. So it looks like with the 80 carry rule between Mr. Mahagi and Brendan, it is completely different play styles when it comes to A carry. Mr. Mahagi plays the Callista, plays the Draven, plays these early game aggressive attack speed, dominant AD carries, whereas Brendan plays kind of the Varus. It's interesting to see the Zaya band away, or like Vayne, for example, where it's scaling, you farm up, you get to 3-item spike, and then you take over front to back team fights. Whereas Mr. Mahagi kind of, full damage heavy. I'm going to take over this game at 5 minutes.
Right.
So we'll have to see which one of those 2 playstyles kind of comes out ahead.
Morgana first picked overall for Infernia, and I feel like this is, obviously I've heard some rumors that my own teammate plays jungle Morgana, so I do think this is a bit of a flex, but definitely a character that is most likely to go into the support or mid role. But I mean, first overall, it tells you Infernia really prioritize a pick like this, so really looking to build their composition around a pick like Morgana, who's just kind of designed to really lock down a target from a good range distance with that Q. So wouldn't be surprised to see a lot more range CC coming out of a team like Infernia.
And it's answered with the Cassante Viego a very strong top side here for TSI. Interested to see Ajuka on the Cassante. In the earlier week one set, he played Cassante and performed fairly well on it, but he didn't take over the game like we know him to as a skirmisher and as a fighter here. So we're seeing a different TSI come out this season 3 with this kind of tank top laner here. So I think we'll have to see what the rest of the team picks, because Cassante isn't going to be bringing out that much DPS. That is a frontliner right there. So we'll have to see DPS come out from the AD carry or mid role.
Do you think it could be a Cassante mid? I know we've seen a bit of flex potential there for this character. Or do we kind of expect with the meta the way it's gone right now that Cassante is kind of locked into that top lane?
Like, I think it is being a comfort pick for Ajuka is based off the players. That is definitely a Cassante top. Sinja does not play the kind of tanky, the Galio or the Cassante mid. He is playing the Katarina, the Nico, these really heavy AP carries, and looks like we might be opting for TSI to grab the Varus. This would be Brendan's third Varus game here, so might want to grab that before we go into another phase of bans. Yeah. It's locked.
Varus, I think Varus is a really good pick overall right now. I mean, you can either flex to the full attack damage build, and you know, as a lot of us know right now, the attack damage build is kind of the way, building those Terminus, those Blade of the Ruin Kings. The Rage Blades are really good right now. And so Varus kind of fits really well into the meta from that build perspective, but can also elect to go into the full, you know, just attack damage by way of lethality builds. You know, you got your Yomu's online and all that. And so Varus is one of those 80 carry picks that can flex both ways. We didn't get a chance to touch on it though for the Infernia esports. They lock the Mordekaiser and the Jax, and with both those picks being locked in, I imagine this is a Mordekaiser jungle for Infernia esports.
I was trying to figure this out. Like, where are these two champions going?
We did see it yesterday.
We did. Which I like that you brought up yesterday. This is the redemption arc for TSI. In TSI week, it was actually TSI Academy dropped the ball and ended up losing last night. So TSI needs to show up for their lower division team as an org as a whole. But yeah, I'm really curious what's going on there. One of those champions, like, is somebody going jungle? Is that a Jax AT Jax mid? They played this in week 1.
Soraka.
Sid in game 1 of season 3, it was this exact same bot lane, Varus Soraka. Again, they performed well on it, but nobody took over the game from the bot lane. They won that game through jungle on the Zac. So this is a very similar to what they did in game 1 and game 2. So we'll have to see if Infernia prepared well. If this Ashe pick is an answer to this bot lane, I like it a lot. Soraka being a squishy support that Ashe Arrow can lock down either one of them. If you lock down the Varus, he's an immobile. So it's really good pressure, but they need a really heavy damage AD carry to follow that CC up.
Ooh, okay. So, I mean, I was just going to say, TSI, they get 4 AD carries off the table, and they still leave Ashe available to them. And so Infernia have a lot of, you know, once again, long range lockdown CC, and pairing it with this Swain, I'm not entirely sure where everything is going just yet. I do figure it's likely going to be Swain mid. I feel like that's probably the likelihood. Could be a Morgana mid, could be a Swain mid, not entirely sure just yet about which is going to go where. I mean, both have flex potentials to each other's roles. I do believe it's a more jungle, but it could be a Jax jungle as well. So there's just a lot of flex on the side of Infernia, but TSI, they lock in the Sylas mid, and there's a lot of ultimates across the way for Infernia to be stolen away for this Sylas here. So love to see that being picked up for TSI. Overall, it's a very skirmishy, you know, composition for TSI though. The Raka, I think, is the big question mark for me, and how that's going to perform. But outside of that, I feel like TSI, they got themselves a very skirmishy kind of draft here.
It's a very well put together front to back team comp. You have the Cassante to take the brunt of the blow, but then you have that really nice mid part of a team fight where you have the Silas or the Viego to kind of stand in front of the Varus or the Soraka. So even if you were trying to dive them, it's going to be a really difficult thing to do for the Mordekaiser, for the Jax. You got, not only do you have to get past the tankiness of Cassante, you have to get past the damage of Viego and Silas just to get access to the Varus or the Soraka. However, I think the team falls apart if one of those two get picked off. And for Infernia, that's definitely going to be the Swain mid. Zach plays it. He's been playing it all of the current season, this current patch, the new items.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be going mid. It's a comfort pick.
So it's a Mordekaiser top, Jax jungle. I'm just seeing the players locking in their picks here in the client. And it is a Mordekaiser top, Jax jungle, Morg support, and Sway mid. Yeah, so very interesting that it's a Mordekaiser top and Jax. Like, is Jax jungle any good? I feel like he's more of a top laner, but maybe that's just my personal preference. But
this is early season. We have new items. This team might be cooking and coming up with something brilliant that we just haven't seen yet.
Possible. I mean, yeah, this is the time to cook, certainly. I feel like out of all times of the year, this is the time to be cooking up new strats, new drafts, new strategies on how you want to play the map.
New pot roast, the pork loin.
Yeah. We got a whole buffet going on up in here for season, what season are we? 13, I believe it is? No, 14, if I'm not mistaken. 14.1. League of Legends. 14 years old. Hot damn.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
How old is Smite at this point?
It's going into its 11th year. And it is now entering its brand new first year with Smite 2, So, I mean, it reaches 11 years old and then it dies overnight. You know what I mean? It just happens, man. Games die overnight.
This game hasn't died for whatever reason, and we can kind of see that here. Look at this: Soraka, Morgana, Jax. These champions have been in the game. It's a whole lifestyle, and so this is the evolution of it. The Jax going to be going into the jungle role. I'm really intrigued. You have the Counter Strike and Leap combo to get some CC, so you might have some really heavy engage. But if you just farm up, Jax is a champion that gets to 2 or 3 items. You can take over a team fight just by yourself if played correctly. Yeah,
I feel like he is one of those characters that can really snowball the map, absolutely. And I think a lot of the contention point with what this draft is really about. I mean, I look across the way, it's Infernia for Infernia, it's the early game. I mean, they got them, they want to be snowballing. They want to be getting those little void grubs online, so they can really push these lanes, especially with the Ashe Morgana bot lane. I feel like that's a really good pushing lane. Versus across the way, TSI, they're kind of more about the mid-late game, I feel like, with their comp. You want to get Soraka online with a couple items, especially the Varus and Silas. You really want them to be looking to farming to these sort of first, second item spikes, depending on the builds, of course, for the Varus. Viego, kind of a champ that really wants to get online and get the ball rolling, but I think can also skirmish really well in the mid game. I don't think he's going to be wanting to really be active early. So TSI, it's all about the mid game. I feel like the second dragon is it second? I think third dragon is really where they're really starting to gonna want to fight around a lot more, rather than these early dragons and these early objectives. You got Jax Ward on the top side versus a Viego Cassante. I think contesting the Ward Grubs is going to be very difficult for TSI, and acquiring the Void Grubs is so strong for Infernia. Yes. You have Jax, Swain, and Mordekaiser, all champions able to apply pressure and split lane. And this is going to be very interesting because, again, while this looks like a very similar comp that TSI played, this is looking different for Infernia. In week 1, they played the Draven, the Callista for Mr. Miyagi. Instead, we have the Ashe support, bringing in the utility, and we have a different jungler. They picked Viego both games during week 1, and now we have a not only unique pick, a unique champion, the Jax jungle. So we'll have to see how Infernia plays with the Swain utility, the Ashe utility, to really get that champion unlocked and access its full potential. Agreed. I do think the Ashe is a very different play style for what Mr. Miyagi is known for. Obviously, with all the picks being banned away, those were a lot of carry champions and champions that can really run team fights in the mid to late game. So the Ashe is a huge change up, looking to get that pushing power in. As thankfully there is there's no blind pick this time. The past couple of nights we've had to deal with waiting for the teams to go through their draft and then go into the tournament draft, but thankfully we are just about ready to get into game.
Oh my goodness. Thank goodness to both these teams for doing blind pick to save the mental of their casters. Oh, chef's kiss.
Oui. I'll let you talk for a minute as I do get ourselves set up.
Yeah, I just want to again bring attention to what this means for both these teams. Infernia beat TSI in semifinals last season. TSI has been around this whole entire time for all of Slash All and didn't make it to finals in season 1. Didn't make it to finals in season 2. So this is a redemption arc of here. Picking up Senja, picking up Azuka, they're making another attempt, and this is the team that stopped them last season. So we'll see if Infernia still has that in the gas tank to make a stand here in week 2 of season 3.
So we do get ourselves set for game number 1 of this best of 3. Could potentially go the distance, but we're not sure just yet. Both teams will have to put themselves in good positions, I think. Again, it's been all about the early game for Infernia, excuse me. Well, TSI,
Don't worry.
it's all about the mid to late game.
We'll get a stutter count started somewhere.
Oh, God.
This is my first cast of the season, so we'll see how rusty I am. I forgot to mention this. Troll, this is going to be an adaptation also for Infernia. It was Pebbleist who started out on the roster for Infernia. So we'll have to see again. Not only is it a new champion, new player, we'll have to see how well he fits in with the team here. I anticipate us playing towards the top side. It is smoke. Oh, TSI doing what TSI does with the invade here. Probably just for a ward. There it is, and they drop off.
Yep, it's just to get some early vision out, as we actually see a bit of a potential roam here. But no, it's just going to be more vision popped out from Infernia. And overall, both teams...
you get to know where our jungler is. We get to know where your jungler is.
And I feel like that is both important for both sides. You know, figuring out where these junglers are going to be starting will be important. But it is there's no leash for the top side of TSI versus across the way Infernia. They've elected to leash with the Mordekaiser on the top side for their Jax. So Jax, I think, one of those characters that does need a little bit of help on the early jungle clear, but nothing too crazy just yet. He is going to probably start to, level that out, that clear level out. I mean, Viego, obviously a character really good at jungle clearing early on. And so...
Yeah, I'm curious how far that affects top lane, though, because Mordekaiser has such a strong level 2 spike here, and he's not going to be able to get it here. Ajuka actually grabbing level 2 first.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too doom and gloom just yet for Smoke, as he will get himself some gold and some XP early on. But I mean, yeah, I feel like the more Ajuka is going to be able to push out this Mordekaiser, the better it'll be for the lane, obviously, as well as the top side. And I feel like teams are really starting to play around these top sides a little more now, with the Void Grubs being in the game and how important those are as early objectives. So teams are really starting to play more around the top side, as Brendan takes an early flash here in the bot lane. Just looking to play a little safe, I think, right now.
Yeah, on the Varus, you do not want to get behind in this matchup. You need those items to really get online, which was what Brendan does well. He farms up, he plays slow and steady.
I feel like that's something that Brendan needs to be doing. I mean, that's all about the late game for this Varus, and so right now it's mostly just the farm fest. And if you're coming out of the late game only down by maybe 10-20 CS, I feel like you're sitting in a really good position for this character. So it is going to be all about that early game CSing, excuse me.
That nice ward there is going to, again, capture where there is. We have the first tank of the game. Ghost is popped. Kizak trying to get out of here, but Kirogro grabs the stun. So Flash over the wall. still trying to get out of here.
Good route. And that'll buy Kizak some time. He's
Oh,
going to get...
continue just come out.
Yeah, he's probably dead here. He should fall down here. He is going to buy himself a lot of time, trying to die to the tower, but no, Hero Joe will get first blood of the game.
Grab. Yeah, that Q not giving over the execute.
Yeah, I don't mind that play. I mean, obviously it's first blood overall, and I mean, Kizak was trying to obviously just die to the tower, and so ends up getting killed for first blood. Obviously not a good look for the Swain, who does really want to get ahead. I mean, that's what we've talked about, is that gonna really slow down the pace for Infernia? Is their early game kind of stunted now, is my question.
I think it definitely is, because not only did he not get executed, he didn't even waste Sinja's time. Sinja was in the lane gathering gold, gathering XP. Hero Joe is the one who finished the kill, and you saw both Ajuka and Sinja drop off of the place, so they didn't actually lose out on any XP or gold to secure first blood. That's ideal for TSI.
Ooh.
Oh no, but Brendan has no flash, and there's the stun coming out, Revenger. Brendan will fall here as he's just trying to trade the kill away, but can't finish it off. The Ashe slow is so cruel.
Yeah, this Ashe Morgana lane, very powerful in how they want to play the lane, and just like, you know, really freeze the lane on their side of the map, and then just look to get out okay. Hero Joe could be in trouble, gets stunned, and there's Smoke with the damage. It's Troll who gets the bite back onto Hero Joe, but
such a feel bad for Hero Joe. You secure the Void Grubs, you're feeling very good about it, and then you get caught out on the back end of it. Kind of makes it an equal trade here for Infernia. Maintain a tiny gold lead on the back of that play as Ajuka actually goes crazy trying to find the solo kill. Done up by Troll. We'll have to see just how strong Cassante is in the all-out form here. That passive damage. Both players are so low. Ajuka hanging out, trying to bait something up. A nice knockup here. He might do it. One more hit.
It's not enough.
Can't commit to it.
Yeah, Ajuka very low. Troll also very low. But I mean, it's Hero Joe on the top side who's looking to make an impact here on Smoke, but he's not level 6 just yet, and so he's not going to be able to get that execute. So he'll walk away, forced to farm. I mean, Ajuka, man, fights it out in the 2v1, stays alive, doesn't get any kills in return, but I mean, just staying alive is oh so important right now for this Cassante. And I was just going to talk about how Hero Joe, yes, he does die early on, but I mean, he gets first blood already, so he's already ahead in a good position. And then he does get all 3 Void Grubs, which honestly is pretty good for the side of TSI, who is all about the late game scaling. I mean, we were talking about how Infernia was going to be focused on getting the Void Grubs early on, but obviously they weren't there on time, and Hero Joe gets all 3, and so suddenly TSI, it's kind of, the ball is kind of in their court. They can be the ones that are aggressive against these towers and really start pushing instead, you know, especially in the mid to late game. I think right now their goal is just to farm up, but
it's a permanent buff, and I would happily be down 400 gold to have a buff that lasts me the rest of the game.
Agreed.
And that puts the top objective is off the map now, so Hero Joe can hover the bot side here. Yes, Brendan went down, but he only has gone down once, and now your jungler can cover here and kind of protect the Varus here. We'll have to see if they go for a Drake. A big fight might break out here. That control ward, they don't know what's going on as Troll jumps into the backside of it, forcing Flash out of the Sid. And Hero Joe is rooted up, has the level 6, but can't find the execute. Sinja arrived trying to find the cleanup here, but can't do it here. Cleanse popped by Mr. Mahagi. Ultimate 2 might barely get out of this one. They can't find the last hit, and now T-Sac is here. TSI is falling apart in the early game. You wanted to scale. You didn't want an early game fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's 4 dead on the side of TSI. Very unfortunate. And honestly, it was just kind of a weird mismatch of trying to use your ultimates in this corridor and nothing really landing. I feel like that fight goes a little better if TSI hits some more of their spells. I mean, the Varus ult went wide, and Hero Joe not being level 6, I think, was really important for that fight. He is still in the area. He actually wants to try and steal this this Drake here, but he's likely just going to go down, and that's another kill for Infernia, but across the way, Ajuka did get a kill onto Smoke, a solo kill. And this Cassante is suddenly the saving grace, I think, for TSI.
That is not what you wanted to see from TSI here. To contest the Drake, give over yet another kill. It is now 7-2. If you don't even get close to stealing the objective.
Yeah, I think Hero Joe trying to make the hero play did not work out. But again, I think we had to emphasize a little bit. Ajuka did get that solo kill in the top side against Smoke. This Cassante, I mean, if he can keep snowballing in top side, maybe you look for a Rift Herald and really force the fight, I think, around Ajuka is what needs to be the game plan at this point.
Gold is where you want it if you are TSI. Void Grubs are back up on the map here. We can see the gold graph here, about the 400, 500 gold up on Smoke. Has some MR in the pocket, so for sure, Ajuka is going to be coming up on top in the top lane fist fight. But really, you have to be so worried for Brendan. Mr. Mahagi is 2-0 now with the level 7, so Ashe ults can come out at any point.
Yeah, this Ashe is starting to get a little scary for sure on the side of Infernia. I mean, you have to be concerned about those global ults for sure. And I mean, you just, once again, this bot lane just has so much range CC. You got the slow on the Ashe, which is on a low cooldown, as Kizak looking for Sinja, but it's a Swain on Swain ult right now. But the bot lane has rotated first from Infernia, and now TSI's in a lot of trouble. They have to try and get out here.
A big 4-man fight. They thought they had an advantage because Sid was roaming up, but it is actually both the bot laners, support and AD carry for Infernia, move up, have the extra DPS to win out in the fight. They grab 2 kills and the Void Grubs. This is snowballing if I've ever seen it here, done well. Now 3k gold up, and Brendan gets a miniature trophy grabbing 1 plate on the bot lane.
Yeah, he gets a plate, and that'll be all for now. But yeah, just a huge rotation out of Infernia there. Wow, just what a move. What a call to make as well, because obviously we were just talking about how, you know, you play around this Cassante as he's got a solo kill now, and he's sitting a good, not a lot, but some CS up over Smoke right now. But it's not going to matter if you just rotate up your bot lane. And obviously TSI were not ready for, I mean, take a look at the bot lane. There's just no real vision for the side of TSI. There is a ward in that bush now, that tri-bush above the tier 1 tower, as Brendan, we do see, got another plate, thankfully. So the virus is starting to scale a little bit. It's not going to be perfect just yet, but he does get some gold for himself, and that'll be important. But again, just no vision to cover that rotation from the bot lane of Infernia.
And they get the trophy for it. They grab Void Grubs, snap the snowballing from TSI on the objectives. And you said it during draft, and I think it's very true. We are going to see something explosive when this 3rd Drake hits the Rift. If you are TSI, you kind of want to slow this game down. Just farm up. Give away 2nd Drake. You don't need it. And just get PS and get the gold, get back in this game. So when that 3rd Drake hits the map, we'll have to see, did TSI manage to crawl back into this game, or did Infernia just run them over?
I agree for sure. I mean, this is a farm fest, I think, as his ult comes out from Kizak. Sinja again in a lot of trouble because the Jax is here. Troll will likely get that one. Oh no, it's Miyagi instead with the Ashe ult from a distance. Hero Joe in trouble as well. Kizak with the flash to get that one.
It is the worst possible outcome for TSI. Sinja goes in aggressive, isn't slowing the game down, gets punished for it, and the gold goes over to the AD carry with the Ashe ult coming down from downtown. Mr. Mahagi is now 4-0-3. This Ashe is a complete threat to the whole team of TSI.
Yeah, and Kraken Slayer online as well. This Ashe is starting to become a problem for the side of TSI as Ajuka once again with the solo kill in top lane. And again, this Cassante is the saving grace for this TSI roster, I think, at this point. He has to keep getting these kills.
This might become the Ajuka show. We'll have to see. Somebody needs to help Smoke up here and get him out of this trouble. It happened right before Drake came up on the map too, so they don't even have to trade away an objective. TP is available. If they wanted to, Ajuka could TP in here, and TSI could look to contest the objective. I don't know if that's the call, as Hero Joe is here on the top side.
Yeah, I like this. I like this quite a bit. I mean, you're pretty much foregoing Drake at this point and just looking to get whatever kind of farm you can on the map instead, I think is probably the right call. I mean, it's going to be the second Drake that goes the way of Infernia. But I mean,
we did go from about 4K up to only 3K up, so we are closing the distance if it's only 1 inch at a time. But they successfully are trading Drake for Rift Herald. Ash Herald comes out from downtown, but I don't think there's anybody here to follow it up, as Smoke might be the cutoff point. Trying to step up, but Ajuka is zoning him off. Speed up from Hero Joe. They get out with the Rift Herald successfully.
Yeah, big play for TSI. I mean, I think you need to be trading at this point in terms of objectives, and so they see Troll in the bot lane and they go for the Drake. And meanwhile, Brendan's still in that bot side, pushing the tower as much as possible, just looking to get whatever farm that he can. He's got that Blade of the Ruin King online. He's still holding on to those 2 wards, but I mean, right now, the Varus, he's not in the best scenario, sure, but it could have been a lot worse, I think. And so
it's okay. Yeah. We have Inferno Drake shards, which do something, I guess.
That'll help. That's actually really big for the Varus, I feel like. You know, usually you want to be building some ability haste when you're going the full, like, lethality build, and that's really good. And Varus really does do well with his abilities. But when you go for this on-hit build, you can't really flavor in any ability haste into the build. You can try, but it's kind of hard. And so just those little cinder things give a little bit of ability haste, and so Varus with a little bit of that could be useful, as we do see Hero Joe rotating towards this bot lane. He might look to get the side of Mr. Miyagi, who needs to be shut down, I feel like, at this point, if you're TSI.
He wanted to get in that bot lane to stop Mr. Miyagi, but well played by Revenger. We saw him take out that control ward here, making sure that they had vision established so Hero Joe can't sneak in. Just really well vision control coming out from the team that is ahead. And Ash Arrow goes wide. So does the Morgana root here. So just Hero Joe needs to get out. He gets out successfully. This team fight is being slowed down. Sinja stole the Ash ult, but I don't know if you want to use it here.
No, and I'm not sure really when you will use it. I feel like if you're Infernia, you just back off. But no, likely it'll get used right now. Instead, I was kind of surprised by that engage, and suddenly Sinja goes in deep for Troll. They're not going to find the kill just yet. There's too much AoE damage on the side of Infernia, and they'll use that to kite away defensively. But, I mean, TSI, they're still kind of in the area. They're still kind of looking for more. But Infernia, they're also cater to it. They're looking for this dangerous blue buff.
Ash doesn't have the ultimate, but has the passive slow available.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, what a snipe on the blue buff.
That's all you need. I mean, who needs Smite, man? You just got Varus Q. It's all you need.
It's its own thing. It's its own buff.
Yeah, it's basically your own secure way, you know? It's a Smite 2.0, let's be honest.
It is. I love it. That's how they plan to secure third Drake. They're not gonna take the team fight. Just throw Varus Q out.
Yeah, just pull a Gumayushi and just steal the objective just from a distance, you know?
That's actually the whole composition.
It's just so Brendan can steal objectives.
Yeah. Or Sinja steals an ultimate and does it too.
That's true. That's true. That is a distinct possibility. I will say, if he's wanting to steal objectives, this is not the right build for it. This is the on-hit build, and so attack speed and just overall pen by way of the item will be the name of the game for the Varus. He's looking to just shred the people in front of him and front to back, I feel like, more than hitting from a distance with that Q, which, you know, could potentially have health if you have a full lethality build.
Yeah, we can come back, get out of the hypotheticals, and come to current state. We can look at the items and we can see just how far Infernia is in this game. Has a finished item for all the players, including Revenger. So this next team fight is going to be really dangerous. You have to play so careful, because if you get caught out, Infernia has the damage to absolutely blow you up. It's a damage item for every single player on Infernia.
Yeah, and definitely a scary look if you're the side of TSI. I mean, you're down 9 kills at this point. 2 Drakes, what really can be done, as we hear very dramatic music in the top lane.
I was trying to figure out where that was coming from.
Very dramatic music as Ajuka should fall down here, but I don't know if he will.
He's looking for outplay, but yeah, the Jax coming out with that attack build-up. Ajuka just fell so quickly once the troll joined the fight.
Where did they use Rift? I don't think they have. Did Hirojo use Rift at all?
It is still in their pocket, and with troll showing top lane, TSI has positioned for the Drake. Hirojo slaps it. They're going to start it up and drop the eye here. So you have to not only answer the Drake, you have to answer this eye, all while troll isn't here yet.
Oh,
it's going to be Syndra hopping into it, getting in that melee range.
That's a lot of gold. That's a lot of gold that goes the way of Syndra right there. And so very important. I do feel like a fight will break out here any moment now. Revenger misses the Q. Flash in from Hirojo.
Oh, and the cleanse is down for Mr. Mahagi, so it's going to be very dangerous for him to join back in this fight, but he might not have to. Mr. Mahagi is putting out so much DPS. Players are falling down left and right, but it is TSI left. No, flash forward, troll secures the kill onto the Soraka, and Kizak is going to pull Brennan back in. You're left with only 2 players left. Syndra's health bar is just getting evaporated by Swain and Mordekaiser, and Infernia steamroll the team fight.
I mean, they got the Ashe, but I don't think it mattered. Once they get the Ashe, sure, it's great. It looks good. But Kizak and especially Troll with the flash in to make that stun play happen for Kizak to just go hard with that Swain ultimate and then just the damage follow-up. That was beautiful, fantastic. Infernia secure themselves the 3rd Drake of the game. It's a Infernal. And they are on soul point here.
It was not a crushing blow for DSI. It hasn't been a snowball. It's been a slow bleed. Infernia grabbed all of the objectives, are now up 3K gold.
Yeah, it's not over. Look, it's never over until the Nexus falls. But they are very far ahead. Their items are just better than TSI right now.
Yeah, have another item. Swain's going to be on 2 items. Mordekaiser is getting really close. Needs about only 500 more gold to be at 2-item spike. And we saw how devastating having 2 champions with massive AoE damage take over a 5v5 fight.
So I mean, Brendan obviously gets some good damage off. I mean, Brendan was a big part of why suddenly TSI were kind of able to fight back a little bit there. I mean, he gets a really important kill and helps out Syndra really dive into that backline. He lands a solid QE combo onto Mr. Miyagi. Gets that Ashe very low, and Syndra's just able to get in there with a Swain ultimate and do the remaining amount of damage to the Ashe. They shut the Ashe down, which is fantastic. But now you have a Swain to worry about, who's 9-1-4. Kizak has very quietly become the top killer in this game. Very quietly, he is suddenly at the top of the leaderboard, in my opinion.
Troll also, imagine all of the gold you've gotten with 11 assists.
Oh.
And we talked about it during draft. It's the Ashe that brings the utility, and it's Troll, the Jax, bringing the DPS for the team. So if you take down Ashe, you still have a damage threat you got to worry about.
Right, and I think they have 3 damage dealers at this point. The Swain, the Jax, and the Ashe that they have to worry about. So it's very hard for TSI to really deal with this, as Baron is on the cards for Infernia. Hirojo and the rest of TSI are local, but Syndra is not here, and I feel like that's a big deal.
Yeah, Hirojo is just trying to get into the pit, and actually Smoke grabs the carry. TSI have no way to win this fight. Baron buff is already down, and Hirojo had no way of getting into the pit. You have Syndra split pushing here in the bot lane. You just have to get out of here. Ajuka is trapped, can't find anybody to get out. Just falls to Smoke's passive there. It just feels very disheartening for TSI as they are bleeding out of this game.
The more I think about it, the more I like this Mordekaiser in general. Just the ability to take someone out of the fight on TSI. I mean, look at all the targets, the juicy targets to yoink out of team fights. You got the Varus, you got the Cassante, who's really huge for the side of TSI and a big part of their victory getting back to this game. But I mean, you take him out of the team fight, and suddenly you got the very fed Swain, the very fed Ashe, and the very consistent Jax, I would say.
I would call that 11, like, 100 gold. That's 1100 gold right there. That's a strong Jax. Did just finish the Sundered Sky. This guy is going to be a menace to deal with.
Yeah, this is one of the newer items, which, looks pretty balanced from what I can see.
Balance.
Yeah, balance, quote unquote.
Balance.
Very good item for a character like Jax. And yeah, the Jax jungle has worked out. I mean, I was gonna praise TSI for taking away the Viego and
Ashe all falls onto Brendan. He has no cleanse. And you see Troll hovering on the backside of this.
Oh.
And it's going to be Hero Joe going to go down. Look how fast a Viego fell.
Yeah, I mean, Yamiyagi takes a ton of damage as well as forced to cleanse from Sinja's Ashe ultimate of his own.
Cleanse for cleanse. The AD carries are alive for both teams, but the junglers aren't. Hero Joe was the first player to fall as the Baron siege continues.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of all we'll see for now. Is just this slow Baron push here in the mid and bot lane.
In this scene, we can see how the whole game has gone. Mr. Mahagi and Infernia aren't doing anything explosive. It is a slow bleed out for TSI. We see the whole game in this small moment as that one cannon, siege cannon, just goes to town so slowly. But if you're TSI, you can't pull the trigger. You don't have the DPS to win a fight.
Oh, Mordekaiser ultimate. It's on to Sinja, I believe, and he's forced to go into the gold form. They will get the shutdown on a smoke, and that's a big kill, as now I believe Sinja has... Oh, no, he does not have. He was just a target of. Never mind. But yeah, I mean, that's a big, important kill. You get one. You remove one Baron buff. Sinja has TP. He can very quickly rejoin this fight. And there's
you gotta pull the trigger, but actually Infernia pulled the trigger. Ashero comes out, but Hero Joe uses the invisibility to get out of here. And this is dangerous territory for Infernia. This is a 4v5. Smoke isn't alive for another 20 seconds. But look at how well they are spacing it. Using Revenger's root here, they are just trying to poke them out. Not giving up the space, not giving up the river, as Ajuka is trying to find a way into the fight. TSI, you need to find something before Smoke spawns. He has TP available to join this fight.
Sinja has the Swain ultimate now, and there's the TP from Smoke.
Well, yeah, so well spaced out from Infernia here. Just waited it out. Infernia has Smoke here in the fight. 4v5. They go on to the tank. Ajuka's the target, but Sinja goes in deep. And Hero Joe on the flank. They find Revenger. Can they find Mr. Mahagi? No, he takes him down. Finally, he goes down, but Hero Joe doesn't find the resets, and nobody was helping the back line. Brendan fell to Troll. TSI, again, in another team fight, fall apart on both sides.
Just not able to get to that back line well enough. Our TSI, they are just too far behind at this point, and Soul will go the way of Infernia. Fantastic fight from them yet again. Just so much poke from a distance that also works as CC. Mr. Miyagi and Revenger do end up falling, and yes, those are good kills. But this Swain is still got that 700 gold bounty on him. The 10-1 and 8 Swain is massive. Honestly, it just doesn't even matter because you just got Soul Dragon. You're sitting in a really good spot if you're Infernia.
You have to ask at what cost, you got the Ashe and the Morgana, but you completely abandoned your backline and blew Summoners just to get in range there. They need to find an answer in a creative play. You don't need to stop taking the 5v5 fights. Infernia are dominating these.
Honestly, it's just no way to engage. I mean, how do TSI start a fight? It really is just with these flashes. You take a look at Infernia and how they honestly played around that Drake. It was just spacing and just long range abilities to poke people out. Kizak is constantly looking for those root poles, and then Miss Miyagi's constantly throwing out the W slows, and it's just so much poke from a distance at this point and so much CC that it's really hard to really start a fight if you're TSI.
But on the other side of it, for Infernia, you have the Mordekaiser ultimate, you have the Swain grab, you have Ashe Arrow, you have Dark Binding, you have so many ways to pick somebody out and start a team fight that they can kind of just play this game how they want to. This game is at their pace. We have Baron buff spawning up here in 20 seconds, and we can see vision already established for him.
I do think draft does need to be looked at going into game number 2. We're obviously not there yet. We're still in game number 1. But if I'm TSI, I'm talking a little bit about some different options for game number 2, because it's starting to get a little out of control. Well, I mean, it's already out of control. TSI, you got to look at, I think, go back to the drawing board a little bit and change some of your picks and potentially some of your bans. I mean, 480 carry picks, and Mr. Miyagi, if he's going to do things like this on just the Ashe, feel like you need to potentially look at some other members on the board for Infernia as target bans.
Well, we'll have to find out. We still need this game to come to a close. Baron buff just spawned up. TSI going to be taking some recalls here. We'll have to see. Mr. Miyagi taking a recall also. So both teams going to be going back. Gold is spent. Soraka did just finish the Moonstone. So finally we have support item online for Sid. I don't know if that makes that much of a difference, though, when it comes to these team fights. They start up Baron here, already down 1/4 of its health, and Hero Joe can't even get vision on it yet.
Yeah, he's a good distance away.
Taking a peek at the mini-map, and it's going to be Smoke finally coming out on top. Grab the kill onto Ajuka, and Brendan's left alone with Mordekaiser in the side lane. Smoke finally had enough. Finds revenge. Coming out above on the 2v1 while his team secures Baron. What an absolute union. This raid boss probably just secured the game here in the bot lane for his team.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly that. I feel like that's probably the calling card for TSI. Smoke's going to try and get a back off. Hero Joe's in the area, but I mean, he's a level 14 Viego. What's he going to do against a level 18 Mordekaiser? Smoke does not care at this point. But I mean,
taking the full recall in front of him.
Okay, it's a stay of execution for now, though. I mean, Brendan's gonna be back up, Ajuka's gonna be back up. No inhibitors were taken, and so TSI, they get one more good fight, I think, here in this game. A stay of execution. Very shocked that Infernia don't just run it down right then and there with 2 members off the table.
I think we're seeing they are going to be running it down. Everybody recalled. Items have been bought. Looking at 4 items for Smoke now. Here it is. The reinforcements have arrived. We can see the cannon minion in that backline going to work there. TSI need to pull the trigger because this will be a slow bleed as they start the objectives. And Hero Joe is going to get caught out.
Yeah.
Troll finds the kill. First one of the end. This is the final chapter being written. Infernia have had enough. They are now going to play extremely aggressive. They are calling this game to a close, as Troll might find another one. Sinja forced to go into Zanya's, and the 1v1 might find the kill here, but the base is falling apart. Smoke is here in the front line. The team captain is calling game for his team as Kizak flashes forward. Big stomp coming out from Smoke. He goes into the fountain as the Nexus falls. A triple kill for Smoke as he escorts his team out of game 1.
I mean, what a performance from TSI, and what a performance from Infernia, especially. I mean, they come away with the win here in game number 1 and put themselves in a great position to really take this series overall. I mean, it's back to the drawing board if you're TSI, I think.
Exactly that. Yeah. You know, this is, you have to feel so disheartened after that one. Infernia, this is a team that knocked you out in playoffs, and you come into season 3 and it's the same thing. Yes, Smoke got behind early, but when he got to that late game, he took over the game.
I feel like this has to be a bit of a breakdown, I think, for the team in terms of like, how do we do this? You know, how do we really beat these guys? They obviously had their number in this game, arguably from start to finish. Yes, there were moments where TSI had some great flashes of potential and some cool moments, obviously. I mean, Ajuka getting 2 solo kills in topside were fantastic, but they were never able to translate a lead off of those kills in the top side. And so it's just so hard for a team like this to really make plays. Are you ready for game number 2 draft? Because I think the teams are getting ready. I think they want right back into these games.
Man, maybe the blood is pumping. The adrenaline is here. I'm excited to see what Troll comes out. Again, this wasn't the original starter for Infernia, but he came out in week 1, played well, played Viego twice, and here in week 2, they don't give him the Viego. He picks up Jax and performs well on it. So we'll have to see what Troll is going to be bringing to the table for his team here. What a great substitute.
Yeah, and so Troll obviously playing very well so far for his team. And the whole team overall, I don't think there's really any bad... I can't really call out anyone for making any real mistakes in that game overall. As it is TSI who will take first pick this time around versus Infernia who will take... Infernia obviously with second pick because TSI want first pick. So...
there has been some debate in the whole entire league about blue side having a better advantage when it comes to the state of the map, the current new rift, actually being favored blue side. So this might be a moment that we can test this. You know, TSI taking blue side here. Maybe it's true. If they come out and this might be a small enough advantage that they can come out in game 2.
I feel like I feel like blue side has always been very heavily favored compared to the other one. I think for me personally, it's not a map state diff anymore. I feel like for me, it's what champion do you really want to prioritize? And I also feel like first pick, you can kind of ban out a few of the, like you could target ban a little better. You don't have to worry about the super OP meta picks versus second pick. I feel like if there's anything you really don't want to deal with, you have to ban those away. And so I feel like in first pick now, TSI can really focus out a little more of what they want to ban. I don't think they'll ban away the carries like they did last time, as I think we are ready to get into our draft for game number 2. Infernia up 1-0 right now.
I do want to say that I completely disagree. I enjoy being red side because you get that counter pick for one of your solo lanes. And for a team like Infernia, we just saw that Smoke and Kizak can keep up with the Sinja and a Juka here, so that counter pick's so valuable for you.
Right, and so I mean, obviously off the table right away is the Swain. I mean, that's the biggest one I see right now. TSI elect to take away the Swain. It's a Xayah instead, so Draven is available for Mr. Miyagi should they elect to go for it. Question is, will TSI match it, or will they ban in bottom 2? Do they think they have a counter? Like, these are the questions I think that TSI need to answer here.
I'd be so scared for TSI if we see Mr. Miyagi lock in that Draven. We saw the Ashe get first blood there around 3 minutes. Imagine first blood going over to a Draven.
Interesting. TSI take the Ashe first overall. So no Ashe, Mr. Miyagi, and I feel like Mr. Miyagi will be happy to go back to that Draven or another potentially to carry pick. But I mean, that's so interesting to me that TSI decided to go for Ashe first overall. There's so much on the table right now. Just so interesting to me that's the pick that they're going to try and build a comp around.
We'll have to see. Again, TSI has been around all of /all, and Brennan's been on every iteration of this composition. Being a play caller from the AD carry position is so unique, and the one champion that really unlocks you to be able to do that is Ashe. So even when it comes to the macro of it, they're putting the ball in Brennan's court to be a play caller, to make decisions for the whole team. And there it is already. Mr. Miyagi's Draven is here, locked in, going to be showing up on the Rift.
Oh, but I like this as a response. Obviously, Morgana for Revenger yet again. And I loved that pick in game number 1. Happy to see it again for the support in game number 2 of Infernia Esports. And paired alongside of Draven will be very good. But I love this in response from TSI. Get a different jungle pick. Yes, Hero Joe. I mean, I don't think the game was really Hero Joe's fault. Obviously, Hero Joe made some impactful plays in the early game. They were kind of able to... Ooh. Okay, I want to talk about the Nocturne very briefly because I love it. It's able to get to the Draven. It's fantastic. You have that engage potential that you didn't have last game, and paired alongside this Leona, again, just more engaged. So it's almost like they're trying to take what Infernia did last game and say, no. We're going to kind of do what you did a little better. We're going to have some poke from a distance and all that with our Ashe, but we're also going to have a lot of all-in potential with a Nocturne Leona. I love this identity switch up that TSI have gone for so far.
And they're doubling down. In game 1, they were trying to do dive. We saw them trying so hard to get to Mr. Miyagi, but they sacrificed their backline to do it here. So Nocturne, Leona locked in. You're doubling down on dive composition here.
Yeah, I kind of like it. I feel like they were close, right? I mean, we saw moments where, that was when TSI were kind of at their best, when they were diving the Ashe. As still waiting for this third pick from red side. Lilia will be the jungle option for Infernia Esports. Interesting switch up. We didn't see that go through at all in game number 1. I don't even think in the bans. And so just a character with more CC and some decent long range poke. Just an interesting switch up for Infernia so far.
Yeah, excited to see Troll show up again on just another unique pick. This is going to be his third unique champion. Week 1 played the Diego, just played the Jax, now going to show us the Lilia. Does he have the skill to continue to expand a very deep champion pool?
Yeah, I think having champion pools, I think, is really important in League of Legends. Obviously, with so many champions, being able to play just 2 characters, I don't think is enough. And so I feel like if Troll can show that he does have that third flex potential of a Lilia, that would be really nice for Infernia as a team. As yes, get that Mordekaiser off the table if you're TSI. You are not dealing with that again in game number 2. It just became too much. But Infernia answer back. They're like, are you like that Cassante? Hey, you're going to have to play something else. No more Cassante. Cassante off the table. And so Ajuke will have to play something a little bit different in the top lane.
Ooh. Yes, being able to ban out top lane in the way that they are right now, giving Ajuka the advantage that he might need to get onto a pick to take over the game. With Nocturne, you could get an early gank up there. So while we haven't seen it this season, last season we did see a lot of Renekton coming out from Ajuka. Yes, he banned away the Aatrox, but there are other carrying champions. Is the hiccup there.
I mean,
my breath away.
Tahm Kench not really. Oh, I mean, I don't know. What do you think of Tahm Kench? I don't really view Tahm Kench as like a carry top laner. I view him more as like a. You can kind of your goal is to really just farm, and then you can kind of rotate and make plays around the map. And yes, you can 100-0 a backliner, but it's kind of more rare. You're really just trying to disrupt and then allow your backline to really surge forward off of your tankiness and general annoyance. And so Tahm Kench is the lock-in for Infernia.
Yeah, I think Tahm Kench, specifically in the top lane, is almost a skill check champion. Because if you overextend, you're going to be punished for it. Tahm Kench has so much slow with the tongue slash, only on like a 2.5 second cooldown. And then you have the stacking health. Also, you have the gray health bar, which works really weird. So if your opponent doesn't know how to do it, they might think you're in kill range and you're actually not. It's just a skill check champion. However, if Ajuka is trained against it, it's not going to get much done. So this is definitely a gauntlet being thrown down by Smoke, saying, are you going to be able to play against me on the skill check champion? So Ajuka double down, throwing down the Fiora, also kind of a skill check champion. If you are a good Fiora, nobody can stop you. You have the parry to prevent any CC, and you get so much healing off of the vital procs. So in the top lane, we have 2 skill check champion gauntlets throwing down, and there it is. You said, oh wow, Sinja's unique champion here in game 2. The pressure is on, locks in the main champion that we all know him for, the Katarina.
Yeah, I mean, just a kind of a, I don't know what to make of Katarina just yet. I feel like Katarina is one of those champs that like, either you snowball, you win the game, and you're kind of untouchable, and you look like a god, or the enemy team just like stomps you into the dirt, and you never get to play the game. It's horrible. It's the worst experience ever. You have a terrible time. Everyone points and laughs at you, and you GG go next. You know, like I feel like there is no real in between those two. It's gonna be so hit or miss for me, and I'm a little worried about that in a game like this. But I mean, it is game point. You know, the series is on the line. Infernia are up 1-0, and TSI, they have to find a way to bounce back. So I don't mind putting it all on the line, excuse me. I kind of like that idea. It shows me that you're never afraid to really try new things and like try what's tried and true, but also a little worried overall for what they decide. what they've decided to go for.
Yeah, I also am not very much opposed to this, because when you're in a game 2 and it's on the line, just go to comfort, go to something that you know how to play and something that you feel very comfortable on. However, if you lose this game, TSI going into week 3 is going to feel so discouraged, and this is really going to put Infernia on that tier above in the competition. 2-0 played against players' main champions. So this game will really show us, is Infernia one of our top teams in Season 3?
I think, honestly, just the way they've played in game number 1, I would say so. Even if they don't end up winning this game here, I feel like Infernia have cemented themselves as a top-end team here. I mean, that was just a dominant performance overall. And I think if they continue to do this against other teams, they'll just be the top contenders. And the way they've shown their different champ pools and that they can, you know, I mean, look at Mr. Miyagi as an AD carry. 4 champ picks or champ bans against him. He still goes to the Ashe and is able to look so damn good on it. And even when he's not looking good and he's getting dove by the enemy team, he's got his mid laner on the Swain to look also fantastic and just carry the game. So I feel like this Infernia composite, like team in general, is just so deep, not only in their champ pools, but in their player pools. Their players are able to dig in deep, and if you can't rely on one person, you can rely on the 4 other players just as impact to make just as much as an impact for the team. And so I'm a little worried for TSI going into game number 2. I feel like they've made the appropriate draft changes. I'd like to see a bit more of a cohesive teamwork change, you know? I feel like they kind of like weren't all on the same page at moments. I wanted to see them dig in a little more and work together a little better this time around. Yeah, that's what I think of these two teams.
All right, putting out the prediction for you guys.
Oh, I see. Okay, I'll keep talking.
Yeah.
I mean, these two compositions, I feel like TSI, again, they've made the appropriate changes. Infernia, I'm a little, you know, honestly, between the comps, I do like TSI a little more. Infernia, they got themselves a Lilia, they got themselves a Tahm Kench, a Pantheon, the Pantheon mid, yes. So, you know, it is good. It's some solid global pressure, I'll tell you what. But I don't know if it's the right composition I want to see going up against the likes of TSI's composition. I feel like it's just a little bit, I don't know, just something about it. It's got some identity from the last game, but it's not the right identity I want to see. The Morgana is great. Obviously, we saw the performance in game number 1. Look to Revenger to see if they can emulate that. But game number 2, we'll see if it's gonna match just as well. There's not the same level of range on the side of Infernia. It's more so kind of all-in-esque. You got some poke from Pantheon, yes. Draven's got the ultimate, sure, but the range is not the same. You don't have the Ashe ult, you don't have the Ashe W, you don't have like the same level of just range that you had in game number 1. And so paired with the Morgana again, we'll see if it can do what they were able to do in game number 1.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have the opportunity to kind of poke out and poke around during the team fights around objectives like they used to. Tahm Kench with the deep dive, Pantheon with the W, even Lilia, you kind of have the movement speed, but once the team fight breaks out, you got to get in there with the Q Eep. So when it comes across the board, Infernia is going to be really up there in your faces fighting and not dancing around like they were during game 1.
All right, we're ready to go. Before we get started, who do you have winning game number 2? Based off drafts, I guess.
Based off, you had to throw that curveball at me. Based off of draft.
Well, because I know you work with Brendan every day, and so you're biased, obviously. But like, I just want to know from the drafts, what do you think?
So I do have to clarify that as a fan, I want TSI to win. But from a draft standpoint, I think Infernia has the tools with the Pantheon, with the Morgana, to stop Senjorita.
Okay, interesting. Well, game number 2, it's TSI versus Infernia. Can TSI bounce back in this game? Not so sure if they can. We'll have to wait and see. for now. Oh, you need to see what we're looking at. Haha. There we go. Yeah, I mean, again, looking at the drafts, they're pretty solid. We'll say I feel like this is the opportunity for Infernia to look for a play like this. They do have decent level 1 potential. And so we'll have to be careful if you're on the side of TSIs. It's just a 5 point for them. I think this is probably just going to be a play that ends with them throwing a ward out. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Especially with Sinja hovering up towards the top side. I don't think that they have the advantage to pick somebody off. Like if you blow a flash, Brennan answers with his own. It's kind of the power of the 5 point here. You set up vision, so there's nowhere to sneak in. And we can kind of see with where Brennan is hovering that even if they were to attempt it, you have time to run away. If you have to blow flash, you have to blow flash. But you're not going to get caught out.
Well, it is a leash for Infernia. They didn't do this in game number 1. They'll do it this time around. Oh, no, they did. They were the team that did do it in game number 1. It was the opposite. Instead, Hero Joe will not get a leash and will be solo farming here in the jungle.
I know, so interesting because I feel like with Nocturne, you kind of want to get that quick snowball, gather as many camps as fast as possible to get to that level 6. But with Lilia movement speed, I don't know if he can even potentially keep up when it comes to farming. As there we see the power of the Fiora. If you get those vital procs, you just went out on trades so heavily. Already getting the level 2 spike here. Ajuka might have just a repeat of the last game. Again, the Tom Kinch, it is a skill check champion. You don't really have a lot of tools to make some magic happen yourself. But if your opponent overestimates, you can punish them for it. So it comes down to how well does your opponent play the matchup.
And this time around, it's Brendan and Sid Bloodline with the pushing lane. We didn't really talk about Sid Bloodline last game, and I feel like the Soraka pick just didn't really vibe with it. Wasn't really a fan of it. Not to say that it was he played it bad or anything. I feel like it just didn't really work with their composition. It didn't play well against Infernia's composition. This time around, though, I love this Leona pick. The ability to just engage from a distance with both the ultimate as well as the reach and the Q. I mean, it's just fantastic for this team. And I feel like how they want to play this fight. And it's good for the lane. They have a pushing lane now. Finally, you have priority in a good side lane. So would love to see this turnaround here for TSI.
Yeah, it just counteracts what happened in that last game. As Sinja goes in deep, Kizak doesn't have the stun here, so Ginger might find the kill. Ignite is down, betrayed away. Flash forward, needs one more. There it is, and the tower isn't going to find the kill. Sinja Rita, the one-trick master here, is going to grab first blood while we weren't even looking.
Well, Sinja puts his team off to a good start here in game number 2. As we see Troll and Hero Joe here in the bot side.
Yeah, we're going to see a 3v3 break out here.
Ooh,
as the Leona is put up, that's the kind of person you want to be in the front line, but nobody's helping him.
Wow.
Just slow burn, doesn't blow the flash, knows he's going to go down.
Just feels like that was a bit of a miscommunication on the side of TSI. Just like, hey, are we fighting here? Hero Joe, he doesn't want to fight. He just wants to get the rift, or not the rift herald, the little scuttle crab. Yeah, the little scuttle crab, and then walk away. So just need to be on the same page here for TSI. I feel like maybe just got caught out. And again, that's the problem with this Morgana. Just good long range CC to set up a team with a ton of damage across the way. As we see Hero Joe in top side, Tom Kench could be in trouble here.
Has flash available, and the gray health is stacking. Soon get very tanky, but they might decide to dive here as Ajuka takes one tower shot. Isn't going to go for it. We do have Troll rotating up. They might look to punish here. Hero Joe is only at about 25% health here. It's going to bump elbows with the other jungler. Ajuka is confident staying up. Wants to take the fight. Has parry available if they tried to pull the trigger. Goes in. They're going to take it. The city's actually here. Flash forward, flash for flash.
Leona's here, and obviously I feel like this is just a play to get pressure in the top side. No pressure in mid, and that's kind of a big deal as Bloodline. They're just going to run back mid and repeat gank here. Bloodline's just going lane to lane to try and get his lane some decent pressure. All the while, Brendan is farming safely in the bot side. All this is to just get yourself the Void Grubs. Hero Joe, yet again, looking to get the first 3 here. And he'll get 1. He'll likely get the next 2 as well for free. Has no smite, but
that health bar again dangerously low, but with the solo lanes pushed up and with the pressure of Sid still being here, they're not even looking to contest it. Well played by Sid. That rotation secured Void Grubs for his team.
I feel like this time around, with the composition style like this is a much better style of play for TSI to get the early Void Grubs. Last time around, we saw them get the early Void Grubs, yes, but I feel like they weren't able to capitalize off of it because they didn't really have solid pushing side lanes. We saw the Varus, sure, but like, it's not the same as an Ashe Leona lane, which Infernia will answer back here with the first Drake of the game. It's an Infernal, and so important for them to really answer back in kind. But again, I just love the Void Grubs on this composition for TSI. It's just so much better for them.
With the Katarina and the Fiora, if one of those 2 players get ahead, you can so easily take the 2v1 in a team fight. So just open up the map, have somebody constantly split pushing. Both those champions are also big threats with the DPS that they are able to put out onto towers here. So we might see a 1-3-1 because a Revenger might be caught out here, Mr. Binding, but Ashe Arrow Volley goes behind the...
Yeah, Brendan just got spooked there, I think. He just got a little spooked. The Morgana popped out of the bush, and he was like, oh, I'm trying to W and click away at the same time to walk away. So just a random W goes wide, and he'll back to base. He's got himself a much better lead this time around compared to last game. Yes, the CS is favoring Mr. Miyagi, but I mean, last time around, Brendan was down, I think, 10-20 CS at this stage, and so just in a much better position this game around.
Yeah, that,
Ooh.
Oh, flash forward. Ultimate going out. Smoke's looking for the kill. Ajuka has the ultimate available, though. He's going to be turning it back. The ultimate is already propped. So well played. And grabs the kill.
Sinja is massive in this mid lane. He's already got some good damage online. He is looking to roam here. I feel like we'll likely see him roam towards the bot lane pretty soon as well. Or maybe again towards top when those second round of Void Grubs are up. I mean, already this Katarina is making an impact, and the impact you want to see out of a player like Sinja, especially on a signature pick like this. And so I questioned it. I'm hoping he makes me eat my words. I always love to see a game 3 in a best of 3 set because that means we've gone the distance. But man, yeah, oh man, this Katarina.
We're talking about Sinja so much, but Ajuka getting that ultimate off so quickly didn't allow Smoke to grab the kill when they came out of the ultimate there. Needed one more tongue slash, but Ajuka with the auto attack cancel activated the Fiora ultimate so quickly.
Yeah, and Ajuka, obviously, we highlighted him in game number 1. Continues to make some interesting flashy plays here in game number 2. We'll see if he can keep that up.
If they decide to send Sid Bloodline up for the Void Grubs again, though, Mr. Miyagi hasn't died yet. How many stacks do we have on this Draven before he cashes out?
I'm trying to figure out how I could see that. 126 at this point stacks for the Draven. And so
get 1 kill, and that's almost 600 gold in your pocket.
Yeah, it's a little worrisome for sure. But honestly, I almost wonder if the play is to just not fight around the Draven at all and just, you know, fight topside. We can give second Drake as long as it means we're getting Void Grubs. I almost don't mind this play style.
It just takes one Morgana binding, though. It just takes one spell check landing.
For sure. And so you have to be worrisome if you're TSI. You cannot allow this this Draven to snowball, I think, just like he did in game number 1 on the Ashe. But this time on a Draven, it'll be a lot scarier, I feel like, compared to the Ashe.
Exactly. So we'll have to see if TSI do decide to send Sid up. He's already up in the mid lane, so the decision is here. They're going to play from Grubbies.
I mean, I don't mind this play, but, I mean, Bloodline's level 5. I mean, you see the Morgana rotating. Revenger's on the way. Level 6, and
Look where the
honestly,
Draven is.
Draven is here too. This is gonna be a 5v3, 5v4 situation if they're not too careful. They get one, and they're gonna run away very quickly.
Yep, there's gonna be the flash away. Kizak going into the Pantheon Ultimate, but the players are out here. They're pushing forward. Ash Ultimate comes out from downtown to stop the play coming out. Everybody has gotten out, but TSI don't want to give up grubs. Ajuka wants something.
Yeah, they're gonna have to give this up here. Ajuka kind of posturing, but the Ashe has rotated as well, so it could be a 5v5. There's the Nocturne ult.
And there it is. It goes onto the jungler, but they don't have the damage to finish the kill. Mr. Miyagi is going hard here. Can Ajuka finish it up? Revenger is the one to go down. Mr. Miyagi is still alive though, and Gray Health and Smoke is still alive. Double kill for Syndra, but Draven is throwing out axes left and right. One more will kill it as Kizak grabs Syndra. Triple kill for Syndra, but Mr. Miyagi cashed out too, as we have a bloody team fight at 11 minutes.
Oh my god. I mean, no one was checking the Draven at all in that fight. It was just try and get in. They got Troll, yes, then they got Smoke, but the Draven was just free casting that entire fight, gets 3 kills. And suddenly it's a very scary situation for TSI. I'm a little confused why they decided to fight there. I mean, I feel like the play to contest the Void Grubs was great. Yes, you have Brendan showing up late. The Ashe ult was already used though, and so to pull the trigger like that, I mean, Bloodline didn't have ultimate yet. Still level 5 on the Leona, and that's a big deal in a condensed quarter like that. Imagine if you had Leona ult there. I feel like the fight would have been free. That could have checked Mr. Miyagi. That would have stunned a lot of members on the side of Infernia, but not having that Leona ultimate, it pays dividends for the side of Infernia. And so they are now
3-0 now on the Draven here. Mr. Miyagi is going to have the tools to be able to take over this game and stop Syndra from taking over team fights.
The good news is the good news is the gold lead is still practically even. Oh, Troll getting stunned in place by the Ashe ultimate. Syndra picks that one up. 6-1 on the Katarina, and Drake on the table. I mean, this is where TSI, they're looking to find their fight back. They're gonna get this Drake here more than likely.
Storm Surge is finished for the Katarina, so players will just evaporate if they don't have any MR.
Yeah, one of the newer items here in season 14. Very good from what I've heard.
Oh, baited in, and Sid is going to be here to follow it up. Kizak might go down, but actually baited in, going in for the stun onto Syndra, and won't actually find the kill. Oh my goodness.
7-1 on the Katarina. It's starting to become a problem here. Oh, yeah. I mean,
there is one player between Infernia and taking over an entire league, and it is Syndra. Stop them in their tracks during season 2 is stopping them in their tracks in this game.
Brendan likely going to lose some plates here, just not able to step up, and this has been consistent all through this game. Bloodline now level 6, yes, but has kind of left Brendan to his own devices, and so there hasn't been a lot of like pushing power here in the bot lane compared to across the wave. This Morgana and Draven have consistently pushed, and Brendan has been forced to just find the farm where he can. And so it has been...
Yeah, you can even see that communicated in the build, as his first item was Moby Boots here on the Leona. They are not playing towards the AD carry. The decision has been played to play towards Syndra, get this Katarina on live, and hope that that's enough to win a game.
And I don't mind this idea. I like the idea of, you know, really feeding in the mid lane as Syndra take another boxing match with Kizak, as plates do end up falling away. I mean, 86 CS. Yes, he's down CS, sure, but he's up 7 kills. Or sorry, 6 kills over Kizak, but he's got 7 kills total. So the Katarina in a very good position to really just outright carry this game. Question is, can he keep it up?
Who's looking to carry the game on Infernia, though? Who's going to be the one who stops this Katarina?
It's got to be Miyagi. I mean, Miyagi, I think, gets that kill in that first fight. Miyagi has the Collector online. 3-0 right now on the Draven. Has a solid bounty on himself, sure, but I feel like if Syndra, if they don't blow up this Draven right away at the start of a team fight, and if Revenger is able to really peel away for the Draven and throw out that spell shield, really throw out the route to buy his team his carry some time, Troll forced to flash away. has Smite available, but will not be able to contest this. It's the first Rift Herald goes the way of TSI. So TSI continuing to build their gold lead. It's not much, but it's you know, it's kind of there. It's really back and forth around the 0.1K mark, I guess you could say.
For sure, the TSI top lane is keeping this game alive.
Yeah, Zuka done a fantastic job so far on this Fiora. Continues to show their level of performance. I mean, last time around, it was just kind of Azuka. This time around, it's Azuka and Sinja. Both of them are playing really well this game. Even Brendan has had a bit of a better game. He's kind of been quiet so far, but as is the way Ashe works, you're kind of just like waiting for your team to make plays and you either follow up or help facilitate those plays. And so it's not really on Brendan to make plays right now. He's kind of just focused on farming. Level 9 on the Ashe, has the Kraken Slayer online. Sinja,
Mr. Nahagi gets a team fight the way that he did around 11 minutes, though, Draven will take over this game. We're going to see how Troll uses the Lilia ult if they are able to get it off on multiple members here to slow down the game. Again, I said during draft, I think Infernia takes this one because they have the tools to be able to stop the Katarina. You have Lilia Sleep. You have the click and stun on the Pantheon here. You have Root on Morgana, plus the AP shield here. You have tools to shut down the Katarina. It's just, can they get those tools in the right places to be followed up by DPS? Because really, Mr. Miyagi is your only option for a lot of DPS. It's down, have to blow the flash. Summoner's coming out, but Mr. Miyagi is still alive as Kizak arrives out of the sky to keep this team fight alive. Drake spawning up in 39 seconds here. So both player teams, if they find a pick here, is definitely the objective secured as Cleanse is blown by Brendan and Smoke arrives in the fight. Bloodline is down to 50% health as we have a 4v5. Ajuka is pushing away the top lane. Do they make the call to stop the split push?
Wow, they're going to back up. Infernia are going to back up here, and they might likely concede this Drake. They don't want Ajuka to get any further ahead here in this top lane. Sinja already making their way to the bottom lane. Hirojo has to be careful here, has to pay respect to the CC, but Ajuka is here, and that's what they're there for. They're there to bait the stun from
Kizak out of the bush, and the fight's going to continue. First person to go down is the Kizak as Sinja arrives in the fight.
Wow.
Pops the ultimate, a double kill for Ajuka as Brennan just pokes down the mid tower. Mr. Miyagi has no front line to help him in a team fight. This is going to be Drake going over to TSI.
Yeah, TSI done a fantastic job of really splitting that fight, and it's just moments like that. Hirojo kind of stepping up, making it look like, hey, I'm on my own, and I'm on my own. And then Ajuka, the saving grace, the Fiora comes in, gets a double kill, and it's all the bait from Hirojo, who kind of played a little like that in game number 1. Just kind of played like he's unkillable and said, hey, look at me, look at me. This time around, the team is really playing around that identity and is there to bail out their jungler when he's in precarious situations like that, and they get 2 important kills and a Drake to boot. TSI, they have the first 2. It's Hextech and Ocean, and it will continue to build here as the game goes on. They got themselves a 2K gold lead as well. They're starting to build their lead.
I don't know if there's a scarier soul for Fiora to have than that Ocean soul.
Yes. I agree. I feel like the Ocean benefits TSI a lot. I feel like, I mean, even just like the Ashe and like the idea of like, hey, go, even the Katarina as well. You're kind of going in, and then just having that little bit of extra sustain will be useful once you kind of kite out of fights and can look to re-engage. So I agree. I really like Ocean Soul here for TSI. I think they can really utilize it a lot this game.
Infernia has been scattered here kind of the past 5 minutes here. They need to try to find a pick. One player needs to corral the team together and say, hey, we have Ajuka splitting in the top lane. Let's crash here. Or maybe you have Lilia flash forward, try to make a play in the mid lane. But it's got to be an explosive play like that. If you keep playing it like this, Mr. Miyagi isn't going to get in that close range to be able to throw axes out. Such a close range auto attacker when it comes from the AD carry role.
Agreed. And so I feel like it'll be up to Kizak and Smoke to really engage a lot this game. I mean, both those characters are characters that really want to get in there and get to the back line as much as possible. And so Ideally, they make the space, and then Mr. Miyagi follows up as much as possible. Can throw out that ultimate as well from a distance to really impact the dive on the back line. Question is,
Here we
will it be
go.
enough?
The ultimate's available for the Nocturne. They might be looking for a play. There's the Ash ultimate. There's the play that I was just talking about. Already down 25% health as Hero Joe goes underneath the tower. The sleep is popped by Troll. They're trying to find the kill, but Sid, what a step forward! And Kizak is going to arrive. They secure the kill, but there's nobody else alive here on the team at Infernia. And look at this. They're just going to start falling. Smoke is the one who says, guys, get out in here. We're losing this. Pops the ultimate to save Kizak.
Yeah, I mean, the TP in from Ajuka, and they don't want to let this go to TSI. They want to keep sieging this tier 1, but I don't know if they can. Low health bars, but again, it's the execution play. The long range CC this time around. Brendan sets his team up. It's a called play by Hero Joe. Hero Joe says, look, just force the spell shield. I'll get the ultimate after. And then sure enough, they do exactly that. They get the spell shield. Mr. Miyagi looks like he's home free until a Nocturne shows up, knocking on his door, asking him for his rent.
And that is going to shut down what the Draven wants to do. Losing those stacks is not going to be able to snowball as much gold as you really want to with Draven. So that slows the game down so much for Infernia that it's looking very worrisome.
Yeah, I mean, this is the pick for Mr. Miyagi. His Draven, I mean, we saw it banned in game number 1. Game number 2, oh, hold that thought. Mr. Miyagi looking, but no, they're not going to find it. Instead, they will back away. And so Mr. Miyagi, known for this pick.
It's almost a repeat of what we just saw 2 minutes ago. They find the Dark Bindings, and Mr. Miyagi steps forward and is actually just going to be stepping forward into a trap.
Oh, so we do get a slight pause here for this game. Players.
Oh, goodness, I can drink some water.
Players looking to pause just to get situated likely. Is there a way we can, like, scroll it, do you think, with the time control, or?
No. We're
okay.
paused too.
Okay, I see. So, yeah, I mean, we have a moment to kind of take stock, take a breather, stand up if we want, stretch our legs, so to speak. But, I mean, looking at the comps so far and what's online, we got 2 items here for Ajuka on this Fiora.
Yeah, I like to go through kind of from, like, top to bottom, look at the player comparison.
Yeah, I know. And, like, Smoke only has that 1 item, 24 stacks on the Heartsteel. And so, not the same level of presence, I think, to this Fiora right now. And we saw even there, Smoke tried to get involved in that fight in mid and wasn't really able to do so. I mean, by the time he showed up on this Tom Kench, Ajuka had was already TPing in, and the fight was kind of already over. Kizak had gone in deep with the ultimate, was able to get out, yes, sure. But it was spooky for the both side laners there, or sorry, for the mid and top laner. They kind of nearly got pincered there if they weren't too careful.
It's going to be so interesting. I think for Infernia, the ball is no longer in Mr. Miyagi's court. It's in the court of Troll and Smoke. They need to be able to get the CC out, get there in the line. Maybe for Smoke, hover Mr. Miyagi, use that. Anytime there's a pause, one of this, like, you get this awkward pause afterwards.
Okay.
This is a normal thing for spectator.
As long as it's gonna fix itself, I don't mind.
It normally does.
Okay.
Normally you have about like a 30-second delay for what, like freeze. For
there we go.
Reason. There we go. Small indie company. Spectator mode, I don't think is a priority for Riot.
I can't imagine why. Oh, Ajuka.
I can't imagine why. This is the core of the game.
Okay. Thought Ajuka might get picked there for a second as Troll was in that top lane, but I mean, only level 11 on this this Lilia, not the same level of impact as the Jax in game number 1. Troll kind of struggling, I think, a little bit, and that's not to say the game is on them, you know, but I mean, I kind of take another look, and this is the question mark for me. Where does Lilia really fit in this composition that Infernia have? So far, it just hasn't really clicked for me. It hasn't really worked the same way that the Jax did, where the Jax was all about going in and creating space for the backline to really operate. And then CC with that stun. Lilia doesn't really do that. She kind of just dies when she goes in.
Yeah, with Jax, you have the auto attack block, the damage reduction for you to be the main engage. With
Oh,
Lilia, you don't have that damage reduction, as they might make a play here on Desenjo, but with the fancy fate, dodges the first one, isn't going to be able to get the sleep to be followed up by Pantheon, which continues to be kind of my main point. Lilia is not your main engage. It has to be secondary engage. It needs to follow up somebody else. And if that person's smoke, you don't have the Tom Kench ultimate to save Mr.
what?
Nahagi.
They're
No contest here on Drake,
This is
though.
shocking here from TSI. I mean, they're up 2, right? They can take their time, but they're not even going to go Baron. They're not going to get mid tower. Nothing. This is,
Yeah,
it's nothing. They get nothing for that. They might get, no, they're not. I don't even think they can get top tier 2 here. They get, I mean, they're going to try. Ajuka's going to try here, but I mean, Smoke has TP. Okay, Ajuka just has so much damage. This should fall. No?
it can't. With Lilia moving up, you don't have vision. You can't be careful as the Pantheon popped the ultimate there. If you stayed, you died.
Wow.
So yeah, TSI gained nothing for giving up Drake. And this is what Infernia needs. They need to punish the big mistakes that TSI make. That is how you get back in this game, and that is how you win here with the Draven. They misstep one time. You have Lilia sleep, you have Tom Kinch knock him. You punish their mistakes, you can win this game.
Well, seems like TSI kind of dropped the ball with that one, sure, but the question is, can they answer back? Baron is available to both teams at this point, and Kraken
They just want
Slayer.
this mid tower so desperately, but Mr.
Yeah.
Nahagi is just collecting waves. They're not diving. They're not able to push. There's such a hyper focus here on the mid tower that's less Mr. Miyagi farm up. Looking at that 200 CS mark now.
I feel like TSI have just stopped. They've just stopped. They've hit the brakes almost on this game. They've just stopped. They're still farming, sure, and they're really pushing side lanes, but they're not really looking for anything. They're not looking to push their lead. They're just kind of content with where they're at. They haven't really looked for any plays. They haven't looked to really get many summoners outside of the teleport.
Ultimate might come out here. They're looking to kill Ajuka in the bot lane. I don't know if they have the damage to do it.
No, I don't think so. I feel like this Fiora's decently tanky at this point and very hard to lock down as well. I mean, there's just no strong and good enough CC, I think, to really lock them down. As Ash Arrow does go wide here in mid, that could be a potential look here for Infernia now all of a sudden.
Yeah, you see the auto attacks come out.
Oh.
Oh, gonna go underneath tower. He has the black health available, but doesn't get it off in time. Ajuka with the outplay.
The solo
This
kill.
is what TSI need.
Yeah, it's moments like that where you look back on, you're like, why did we win this game? And it could just be the solo laners pushing out bot lane and really just pulling ahead. Suddenly it's a 5v4, and I don't even think you pull Baron here if you're TSI. I almost might pull Baron here if I'm Infernia, just to try and get Azuke away from split pushing, as Hero Joe has to flash away. Pops the ultimate, I think, just to dissuade the Infernia from going forward.
That was so well played for him in such a bad position. Pop paranoia, turn the lights off, and they don't realize how quickly their top tower is falling to Ajuka because they can't see the mini map. Incredible play by Hero Joe.
Yeah, fantastic moments like that. Just the little things, you know, using an ultimate to just to deny vision, as suddenly the Baron will be the target here. And I kind of like this call, but Smoke is nowhere near, and that's all the play is there for. You're gonna pull Baron just to get the, well, I guess the Ashe ult as well, but ideally you were just getting Fiora TP. But now all of a sudden, TSI are kind of here. They could potentially look towards the Baron, but no, they're gonna finally get that mid-tier one that they've been fighting for all game long.
The mid tower is going to fall at what, 17 minutes?
Something like that. It's 27 minutes into the game.
27 minutes.
27 minutes into the game, the mid-tier one finally falls. It's gonna be some big important item spikes here. I feel like Sinja is about to get that Rabadons. Maybe? No, not yet. He hasn't back just yet. But I mean, Rage Blade online for Brennan, as well as a recurve bow. Bloodline has got some decent items online. Then Hero Joe as well, finally finishing that Eclipse. Sinja backs finally. Is it enough gold is the question. I feel like Rabadon's definitely a massive spike for this Katarina that once you get that, you're almost erasing everyone on the map. And with the way this game has gone, it almost doesn't matter that like you've given up a Drake. Maybe they just said, look, their fight isn't that bad right now. Let's slow down. Let's focus on farming. Let's get that Rabadons, you know, that Katarina just bought. Huge on this pick.
And the next Drake is spawning in 15 minutes. So Sinja is on this huge power spike as Drake spawns on the map. This couldn't be more ideal. So it's not even going to be a contest for the Drake. Infernia is moving up to the top lane to stop Ajuka. They're not trying to contest the Drake. They just want to make sure that they don't lose anything else.
Troll is here. Does have the smite and flash, but good ward control from TSI will slow down this Lilia from stepping forward, and it's sole point on the table for TSI. Can they convert this now?
They didn't even get to the pick. I think some of these macro moments from Sid have been the difference maker in game 2 there. Troll didn't even get close to the pit because Leona was there with the stun. Outside of the river here, we saw earlier how he blocked the snowball from Lilia to save Sinja. These macro moments, I think, are making a huge difference in game 2.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Sid's performance so far in this game number 2. I feel like they're having a much better game on the Leona compared to game number 1 Soraka performance. I feel like they're really making an impact. And not only, I mean, I was kind of discrediting them a little bit in the early game. I was, oh, Revenger. Hero Joe looking to make this play.
I don't think he can make that play.
Yeah, I don't think he can either. He sees 2 members pop around the corner and immediately backs away. And so Hero Joe will back off for now. Zuke is playing aggressive though in this jungle. Looks for Troll. Don't think has the damage just yet.
I was about to say, while Hero Joe might not be able to make that play, Fiora definitely can. You see Troll just run for the hills from that Fiora.
Oh, Sinja roaming the jungle right now. No real ward control just yet, but I feel like the play here is going to be towards this Baron. Infernia, they're kind of, I don't know if they're really out of this game, but I feel like they're starting to get locked out of this game slowly but surely. They're just kind of slowly falling behind.
Yeah, we're at about 7 minutes that Infernia have not had the gold lead or even equal here, as we have a 5v5 fight getting set up here. Love to see Smoke covering Mr. Miyagi there on the top side of our screen here so that Hero Joe can't dive. Keep the Draven alive. Keep the axes flying, and you can come out ahead in this team fight. But TSI is spreading them thin. Ajuka on the flank, on the top side. Sinja hovering outside of vision. You can never be too safe when there's a Katarina. Can blow up the whole team in about 0.5 seconds.
We'll see some members back on the side of Infernia, but also on the side of TSI. Ajuka backs, heads straight towards that bot lane, looking to push that out. Infernia still here, and Ajuka does have TP, so they're looking to split and really force some members to either check them bot, or they'll TP over and make an impact around this Baron. But all of TSI are going to back for some spikes right now. Brendan really close to that Terminus. I feel like once Brendan gets Terminus, the game starts to look a little spooky. I feel like once it's just going to be so easy to...
What does Terminus do?
Terminus makes you a little tankier, and then it's good armor pen at the same time as Kizak. Getting solo killed here. Ajuka putting on the fancy feet. The Fiora just makes it look easy. And so he'll just split bot, but the pings are there. Hero Joe heads straight towards that Baron. And Baron will be on the cards here for TSI.
And there's no Pantheon ultimate coming from the sky here, so there's nothing that's going to catch you off guard if you're TSI. That's going to be the opportunity they needed to blow this game up. Sinja trying to find Troll, but Ashe does go wide. Flash forward, couldn't find a really big steal here. Ashe secures the kill so that Hero Joe gets the Drake for free as Ajuka is in the back line. Looks like they're going to disengage here and walk away with Baron buff in their pocket.
Did not like that sequence of ultimates there. I feel like they were just shooting their ults blind there. Where Brendan and Sid, I feel like you gotta confirm those a little better, but they do come away with the kill and a Baron. Troll trying to make the hero play, wasn't able to do so. So instead, it'll be TSI with a Baron power play advantage going their way. first time of this series TSI have gotten the Baron. They
Yeah,
don't
we
have.
saw the wise play come out from Brendan as soon as Troll jumped over the wall, moved his DPS over onto it, killed the Lilia so that Hero Joe was completely comfortable to secure the Baron. There's no Baron steal shenanigans coming out here.
This is your opportunity to take a look at Terminus. Applies magic damage on hit and alternates between light and dark. Well, the light auto attack will give you some armor and magic resist, while the dark gives you some armor and magic penetration on your side. As now Brendan
Oh,
will be
Zach's
swinging.
going into the ultimate here. They're looking for Brendan, so Brendan blows the flash to disengage here.
All the while, Ajuke pushing this top side. I mean, this is sole point, and that's why the members of Infernia are down here. They do not want to give the soul. But I mean, check out the side lanes. You got Ajuke in top, and then you got Katarina in bot side. Sinja. I mean,
What a position.
Yeah, they're just gonna push as Nocturne looking to ult just to stop members from backing. They give up the dragon, but I mean, look across the way. They're ending the game. Sinja,
Ajuka
Ajuka
on the Nexus. The lights were out. Nobody saw it. Ajuka calls game.
Wow. And so suddenly we are going to game number 3 here. Ajuka.
I could not be more excited. I'm not disappointed at all. Infernia came out, showed what they do well. Zach and Smoke taking over team fights. But in game 2, they bounced back. The macro coming out from Ajuka, Hero Joe, and Sinja kept the game alive. And we have our game 3 on board. It is here. It's arrived.
I feel like this is the first one we've ever commentated, at least for the season. And so far, I mean, yeah, both sides. I mean, look at TSI. They adapted so well, and I feel like a lot of that does come down to the draft. I feel like they just drafted so much better in game number 2. I mean, obviously the Nocturne was doing fantastic work. The Fiora did amazing. The Katarina obviously did fantastic work as well, but I feel like just pushing side lanes was a big part of why TSI were able to have such success in that game number 2.
We'll have to see if they can find it in game 3. They have to get creative in the top lane to stop Ajuka. On the Cassante, got solo kills. On the Fiora, took over the game. So kind of brings the question, how can they support Smoke? We saw Smoke walk away with 1 or 2 solo kills, but he needs help from his team to stop this player.
Agreed. And so I mean, Smoke obviously doing so well in game number 1, especially in the late game. I almost wonder if Mordekaiser needs to be looked at in the top 3 if you're Infernia, excuse me. So we'll have to wait and see. I do believe that Infernia will take first pick overall. They'll take blue side. This is just a guess. And obviously I do have the client in front of me and I see who's loading up, but not so sure what exactly they'll kind of really lock down yet. Not entirely sure.
Spirited, if you do want to transition to just production, we do have the substitute for you. Big shout out, chat. Give cheers. This is Spirited first cast here with us in /all and has done extremely well. Is able to keep up with the team and the game, kind of seeing what's happening. So just big shout out and thank you to him.
It's up to you. I don't know. I'm down to keep casting.
Bet.
I'm down. I like it. It's fun. But yeah, I mean, like obviously TSI, they bounce back. And so game number 3, how do they continue that trend? I think is the question, especially against the composition of Infernia and how they obviously want to draft going here in game number 3. In my opinion, I feel like they need to look away from the Morgana. I did like it in game number 1, or you draft a little better around the Morgana. Obviously in game number 1, the Ashe selection really helped out with that pick, and just like the double root followed up by the stun and whatnot. It's fantastic. Love to see that. However, game 2 this time around, it didn't work out. You didn't have the Ashe. You had to really draft something a little different. I also think Infernia have to ban away the Katarina top 3. That has to be just the focus right away. But
on the other side of it, you have to ask the question, what is TSI got prepared? because they weren't able to transition to a win on red side, and they're going to be on red side again, correct?
I believe so. Yes, they are. So,
So
yeah, I'm not.
if
I'm not
Mr.
sure.
Mahagi gets priority on the AD carry pool, can TSI stop that?
But my question is, what is your priority on the AD carry pool? Do you just want the Ashe again? Like, obviously Mr. Miyagi is not an, I don't want to say he's not an Ashe player. He obviously played Ashe very well in game number 2, or game number 1, excuse me. But are you going to then say like, okay, Mr. Miyagi, you have to play Ashe because we have to first pick it. Because if we don't, they're going to pick it early on. And then we're kind of screwed and you're in a bad position. Like, we can't run our double Morgana.
If I'm Infernia, I wonder what can Brendan bring to the table. Because
if you're Infernia,
if you ban the Varus, pick the Ashe, Brendan has to play a new pick. He hasn't played all season. And then you have Mr. Miyagi on the Ashe, and we saw clutch Ashe arrows come out in game 1. But then my concern really is, who do you give counter pick? Because Ajuka and Sinjo, you saw at that last moment in the game, it was the Fiora in the top lane, Katarina in the bot lane. So you're getting over a counter pick to these 2 players who are on fire.
Agreed. And so I don't know. I feel like you kind of, if you're TSI, I think if you are allowed to play Katarina again, you just pick it. You don't care about the matchup. You're picking it because it just did so much in that game number 2. But my concern, and then you ban away its counters in second phase because you do have the pick going into the ban. Like you pick your pick, you pick the Katarina, and then there's 2 bans. So like you can ban away counter picks to Katarina. But I agree. I'm not really sure what you do if you're TSI because like the situation is going to be Infernia are likely going to first pick the Ashe. My question then becomes, does TSI ban the Ashe? We saw game number 1 where they banned away the Draven, the Yone, and the Xayah. Game number 2, it was the Xayah, the Swain, and the Yone again. So my question becomes, do we switch out one of those bans in game number 2 to be an Ashe ban? So I'm not really sure what the plan is just yet, because I feel like you can't let that go through. But I just feel like the Ashe Morgana combo is just too strong. And obviously they've shown the propensity to go back to Morgana. I'm just not so sure what they're going to do.
I'm really curious what we see Revenger pull out here in game 3, because I don't think we see the Morgana again.
I agree. I'm not sure if we won't see it because it's banned or because the pick does not provide what you need it to here. Because if you don't get the Ashe Morgana combo or similar style to that, I feel like there's no point.
Well, I had another hiccup.
All good.
We had Revenger. I was just completely blanking there and lost track of my sentence. We saw Revenger in week 1 play Lux, play Braum, so we know that his pool has other champions in it other than the Morgana. And I think both those, especially the Braum, you don't have to pair Ashe with the Morgana. Ashe Braum is a beautiful bot lane.
Yep, as we are getting ready to go for picks and bans here. Sorry.
Yeah, both times. No, you're good. Both times, both teams are taking their time before we go into this crucial game 3. Whoever wins here really cements themselves at the top of the standings at 2-0. So high stakes game 3. Wow. We're in a draft. Katarina's off the table
right away. And honestly, that's the right call. I think you just say you cannot like this character. If you cannot perform to the same level as you just did on that character, like, we are just not going to give it to you again. And I like this call from Infernia, and it's the same bans here from TSI. They don't change any of them. This does leave the Ashe Morgana on the table.
I'm surprised to see the Ashe still on the table.
The question is, really, does he go for it? Because, okay, Miyagi, game number 1, only went for Ashe when 4 other AD carries were banned. It is a Lux instead. And I like this a lot more. I'm surprised why it's first pick. I feel like that went through both drafts. First picking a Lux really does show that, like, hey, we're not going for Morgana. This gives TSI an opportunity to just run back the bot lane if they should so choose.
So much priority was just given over in this draft. FC Ashe already covered. You have to wonder if the intent is that they have a counter pick in pocket for the Ashe. They actually opt to grab the jungle here.
I like this.
They're not going to pick support yet.
No, I don't think you need to pick support because they just picked the Lux. Unless that Lux is going mid, you don't need to pick the Leona. I don't think you need to. It's a Lux Caitlyn combo, and this is a solid combo. Mr. Miyagi obviously looking to change up how they want to play in this bot lane. Gonna be interesting to see what build they go through. I feel like there's been a couple debates of what Caitlyn really builds right now, whether it's the full, you know, attack damage crit combo that you're used to seeing, or if it's the lethality build out of Caitlyn. And I feel like you could go either way. With the Lux combo, I feel like you could get away with a lethality build, but that does worry me a little bit because the Ashe will just be able to shred frontline while you'll be forced to really play for the backline picks. But a Caitlyn pick does let you kind of play for that, as it's a Maokai jungle as well for Infernia. A very different style of play that we saw from their game number 2.
Can I just say that color casting was beautiful from a player coming over to Smite to recognize the Caitlyn Lux bot lane combo? Oh my goodness, look at the casting we have on Death right now.
I've watched League of Legends for a couple of years now. I watched Worlds Finals this year and last year. You know, I know some stuff. I watched, I've thoroughly enjoyed Spirited joining our production team. Shout out to Merc hanging out on the sidelines for us. I'm just so thankful for the production crew we've got together. As TSI grabbed the Nico for Syndra. This has been banned away a couple times now, I feel like, in the bottom 2, and Syndra deciding to go for this pick. And I do like this idea. It was kind of what I mentioned before. Like, pick this mid laner's option before the bottom 2 and then potentially ban away some counters. Mordekaiser again off the table, so Smoke has to play something different again. And so I'm not, man, I don't know. Game number 2, the Tahm Kench did not work for me. And so I want to see them on a fighter. The Fiora gone, and it is an insta hover for Leona. I love this combo again. The fact that they get to run this back is criminal.
It is absolutely criminal, but I have to make a shout out to anybody who's been hanging around here long enough. Does Smoke go back to his champion we got to know him for when he joined the league? Do we see the set come out? The guy plays it so well. It is what he got known for in Season 2 regular season. When we all met Smoke, he was a set player. He played 1v9 style.
A Kali mid more than likely being hovered right now. And it's locked in against the Nico. I'm not the biggest fan. I mean, this is such a weird style of play that Infernia are looking to draft. I mean, it really is just get to the backline and kill the backline. But when you're dealing with composition like Nico and Leona, I feel like diving is just going to be such a hard time for Infernia, as it is a set hover and locked in. You called it, Brett. And sure enough,
are in the air. Hoggers caster moment. I called it. Can he do it though? Ajuka is the player that could stop the set, but here it is. We have the Smoke though.
Smoke on a signature pick like the set, and it's not that bad. You kind of mentioned the set a little earlier, and I'm like, it's not bad into a composition that TSI have drafted. Question is, will it succeed? This Akali pick again, just very interesting to me. I feel like the Akali is either gonna work out really well or very quickly be shut down, and so very interesting.
I think if Infernia gets ahead in early, this could be a lights out game.
Yes.
If TSI plays how they did last game, you know, they kind of did lose some kills in the early game, but they answered it on the opposite side of the map. They played a very balanced macro game where they didn't lose anything for free.
I'll take over for you, Brett. I agree.
Yeah,
I do agree. Like, it is a very like snowbally comp for Infernia here.
Did my mic pick up that hiccup?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't think so. But
you
I could hear
your
voice having a hard time, my man.
Oh man.
And so yeah, I agree. I feel like this is a strong snowbally composition. I'll also mention the range. Once again, similar range style CC on the Lux with that Q able to set up for the Caitlyn range, as well as some potentially all-in Kali engage, a Kali engage here, as well as a chance for Set to really close the gap. I mean, the engage is there this time around for Infernia, excuse me, as TSI, again, little, some solid engage. I think just both teams are looking to engage. Difference maker, I think, this time is TSI have really good counter engage. They can kind of kite really well. They kind of want Infernia to really start the fight and walk into them, and they'll drop all their cooldowns in front of themselves, and they could potentially 100-0 this Maokai Akali set very quickly, and then get to that Caitlyn Lux backline.
If these comps were to hit, what's it called on ARAM? What's the Howling Abyss? These two team comps were to hit Howling Abyss, just walk down one wave. I really think Infernia comes out ahead in there, especially with the Maokai pick, being able to frontline for you, the Caitlyn and Lux being able to attack from so far away. But there are so many macro things that you have to keep track of when you are in Thunder Rift. Where is that Ashe ult coming from? When Nocturne turns the light off, do you keep track of your teammates, or does Caitlyn just get executed in the darkness? Is that a Nico minion? You have to keep track of these small things on the Rift, or else you won't get that perfect 5v5 fight that Infernia needs to come out above during Drake and Baron fights.
I will also say the grouping has to be very, they have to be, Infernia have to space themselves really well. If Nico can just kind of sneak her way into the backline, or you get a lucky Leona ult and suddenly 2 to 3 members are stunned, and then the CC combo from TSI is just nuts. You just stagger that CC as much as humanly possible with this style of, with this composition, and no one will get to play the game on the side of Infernia. I mean, this Caitlyn will not get to play. You can cleanse one CC, sure, but after that, you're just praying and hoping you can get a flash off to maybe get another auto attack in before you die. It is very rough for Infernia if they get CC locked down with the way that TSI want to play. I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like it's two really back and forth teams that have played well both of their respective games. It's never really been, I mean, neither game was really close respectively. You know what I mean? Like, TSI kind of really stomped over their game across the way. Infernia stomped over their game. And I don't know, man. I feel like this one, I don't know if it's going to be a stomp necessarily, but I feel like it's going to be really one-sided yet again. I'm just not sure which way just yet.
I'm like trying to process it. Like, what was really some of the factors that tipped the games over? Yeah, like scales. That was the word I was looking for. Tip the scales. What tipped the scales? Because I feel like both games started off so equal. But when scales started to tip and one team had a gold lead, it just didn't stop going until a Nexus blew up. So maybe the question here is, do either of these teams figure out how to stop a slow bleed? Because that might be the difference that lets you come out. Because both teams play early game well. It's just once he has a gold lead, they don't let go of it.
Agreed. And when I look across the way at like what these two teams have also done as well, game one, I mean, TSI lost obviously, and then they adapted in the draft. Game number 3, they have a very similar style of composition to how they played in game number 2, and that's a positive in the sense that they just won their game number 2, but it's a slight negative in the sense of you kind of just played against this draft if you're Infernia, and now you've had a chance to play against it. You can kind of know how to play against it just a little bit better this time around.
I'm just very excited to see the smoke show in that top lane.
Are we ready? Are we ready to go into game?
Oh, I'm so ready.
All right.
This is game 3. We have a breaking point here. So much intensity going into this.
Game number 3.
Yeah, I've been playing for 2 hours.
Love to see it. Too much League of Legends for my liking sometimes, but we do get ready for game number 3. TSI
like
versus Infernia.
Player.
Oh my gosh, I hate it here already.
What do you mean too much League of Legends? We made an entire league to play custom 5v5.
I feel like custom 5v5 is not the same as solo queuing or just random queues in general. You know what I mean? Like custom queues are so much more fun. They're communicated, you get so much more done in general. And so I just like the ability to play with teammates just infinitely better compared to the solo queue mentality for sure.
That's exactly what we made the league for. As we have two big teams. These are teams that have been playing together for a very long time. So talking about how it's a custom 5v5, they're going to clash here. And maybe we see, maybe it's the synergy that's built up maybe between Smoke and Mr. Mahagi over the course of a couple months that pushes them out above. Or TSI, been around, been together. But they've been changing their roster pretty consistently. So there might be a synergy gap there that cost them the game.
Yeah, synergy, really important to build up with the team. You really want to be on the same page. You want to be communicating the same thing.
I can't see the game.
Oh, you cannot. That's true. That's really important, isn't it?
It is fairly important.
This whole time. There we go.
I know. I was disappointed to not see an Invade come out from Team Solo Invade.
No, there was no Invade whatsoever, in fact. It was just Ajuka putting a ward in topside around the blue buff, just so they know where the jungler's starting, and that he ended up starting bot side. And once again, we are back to our farm fest.
Love to see it, but we'll have to see if Lux Caitlyn can get the trap down, get the combo set to punish Brendan trying to hit the CSs here.
Yeah, Brendan has to pay respect to this combo. Can get trapped. They hit level 2 at the same time, and so there's no major concern on either side just yet. No real potential look. Both teams, I feel
so
like...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, both teams just kind of jockeying for the farm right now. There's no real, I feel like playmaking potential right now at this point. Both teams, I think... it's game number 3. You really want to maximize your points and your record. You really want to pull ahead early on in the standings. And so both teams, I feel like they're not going to be looking to make any mistakes in the early game. They want to play, I think, for the mid to late game. So it could be a bit of a slow game here. Oh, scratch that.
Actually, it's going to be TSI making the decision in the bot lane to go. As said, he's going to be the one who goes down really low first, but Flash out of the fight. Exhaust is blown on Brendan. Flash and cleanse. Exhaust slowed down the fight. Revenge.
Oh, there's a minion. I don't think it's just a minion. There's a Nico on the way. Mr. Miyagi gets the flash off in time, and so he will be okay. Sinja uses their flash as well, but it's not enough. And so it's just a lot of summoners traded in the bot lane.
It looks like that slight pause where that's a minion in the river wasn't enough for Sinja to get the rooftop. A nice reaction from Mr. Miyagi to get the flash and get out of that alive.
Sinja now down a level 2 Kizak, who's just been able to push out this mid lane. And so the farm and CS does go the way of the Akali, which is a little scary. I feel like you don't want this Akali to really get ahead.
Absolutely not. Even scarier is Smoke up there in the top side as they actually start up a fight here. Kizak, see if he decides to go back in. It's a full disengage to back.
Bot lane hits level 3, and that'll be all for now. Level 4 Hero Joe. So he was a little ahead to Troll, who's only level 3. So the Maokai is struggling to really farm up the jungle right now. Hero Joe could look to potentially take advantage of this situation.
Probably just a full another cycle of jungle camps to try to get to that level 6 point. You want to get that to get into a lane and affect it so quickly with the paranoia. In the top lane, you have to be concerned about the Juka. You see how low that mana pool is now. So Smoke is going to have free control of the lane, especially with Hero Joe not anywhere close to that level 6. Smoke has a great window here to either take a recall, get item advantage, or push the tempo, look for that solo kill. Troll's up there. They could look for the dive. I don't know how well you can dive a Jax. Oh, we're in season 14. You don't have to dive a Jax. You can just collect Void Grubs as your trophy for taking control of the early game. On spawn, Smoke Controller here, grabbing grubs.
Very surprised. I mean, we saw Sid walk towards that top side and then immediately walked back bot lane. So it's a conscious decision to give up these 3 Void Grubs. And this is the first time that we've seen Hero Joe just give these up. I mean, games 1 and 2, he was on this first round of Void Grubs, got all 3. This time around, he's not there first, and so he's going to give those up.
Smoke just had such a control of the top lane early, so there was no contest. Probably was a Juka calling off the play, saying, hey, there's no way we can contest this. Let's not tilt the scales like I talked about earlier. Just give this up. Let's keep farming up and maybe try to find a fight around Drake. Hero Joe needs probably 1 more or 2 more camps to get to that level 6 point, as Mr. Miyagi is going to take another back after crashing a wave.
Yeah, Mr. Miyagi sitting in a pretty solid position with those 2 short swords. He's got that early attack damage that you need out of Caitlyn, and that likely tells me that this is probably gonna be. I mean, obviously it's pretty early to tell, but I think this is probably gonna be a lethality build out of the Caitlyn here, more than likely.
So much priority was given up with that recall, though. We see Sid get a recall off Sid. Sinja gonna hit the level 6 here. Brendan halfway to level 6 here. So big ultimate's gonna be online when they go for the Drake fight here.
TSI, their jungler is backing while Drake is up. Obviously, you could not contest Void Grubs, but now with the pushing bot lane, it seems like it's going to be Infernia that potentially looks to take this Drake here.
They have to find a pick. If you start that Drake up, it's going to hit your health bar down so low. You don't have items here. You only have a Ruby Crystal for the Maokai.
Oh, Nico's here. That's not Bloodline. They know something's wrong. They're going to give a wide berth to this fake Leona. And they will back off. And that makes sense. I feel like that's the communication level that Infernia have right now. Akali is obviously calling that, hey, something's not right. The Leona's, or the Nico is missing. Like, be careful side lanes. And sure enough, they do exactly that in the bot lane. And Sinja, once again, returning to bot lane, mid lane, will look to farm it out.
Just such a big play there. It feels so small when we talk about it. That, oh, that's not it. Actually, big fight breaking out in top lane as Paranoia is popped for the first time. First blood is secured for a Juka.
Love to see that. First blood going the way of a Juka, who had a fantastic game number 2, a solid game number 1 as well. But the late game ultimately did not manage to carry the game to a victory. But this time around...
As soon as Smoke died, you saw Hero Joe move down on the map. They might look to contest this Drake. What a great trap there, grabbing Sid. Brennan pops the ultimate just to save his support. That is for sure Drake secured for Infernia.
Yeah, no Nocturne ult to really get involved on the Drake to try and steal it away. I feel like that's Nocturne's best avenue in to stealing Drakes or objectives in general. You just ult, and that buys you a bit of time, because teams will hesitate. As soon as you pop that Nocturne ult, teams they hesitate. They kind of freak out a little bit. They're like, what do we do? Like, there's a Nocturne ult. We can't really see everything going on. And then suddenly he comes in and just smites the Baron or smites the Dragon. And suddenly the objective that you thought was so free is not gone your way. But with no ultimate and the ultimate being used in top, it's very hard for Hero Joe to get involved on that Drake. And so 2 objectives now have gone the way of Infernia. So despite the first blood going the way and the gold lead now going the way of TSI, it's kind of the objective lead that's gone the way, at least in terms of late game. You know, you want those Drakes to give you just minor stat boosts, and obviously those Void Grubs as well. As we see the Void Grubs now being respawned.
Yeah, still got another minute before Hero Joe's ultimate is online. Probably another 2 minutes before Ash Arrow is available. So they have the ultimate objective as they flash forward. They're going for a Juka. He has his own ultimate available for the extra resistances, though. As Sid actually went in. There's miscommunication, and Sid goes in deep to die. Left in a 4v4 as Mr. Miyagi is here. TSI could still contest. Nico goes in. Big 3-person blossom. Kisak is still alive, trying to trade this back as Smoke finds the punch onto 3 people. Brendan is so low, but nobody is closing the distance, and Hero Joe cleans up the whole fight.
And that's what you like to see out of a team like TSI. The fight is never about, Troll is still in the area and could get caught, get stunned. It's a smite, and they get 1, so no sick No 6 Void Grubs for Infernia, and Ajuka will clean that one up. 3-0 on the Jax all of a sudden. And Mr. Miyagi, it's not a lethality build on the Caitlyn, so the scaling will be good, but I don't know, man. Suddenly the game, the goal, like, yes, again, more objectives go the way of Infernia, which is great. You get 5 out of 6 of the Void Grubs. But I mean, it's the gold lead that is starting to spill a little out of control for a TSI. This is the biggest gold lead we've had at this stage in the game, 10 minutes in, and it's starting to get a little out of control.
And all of that gold, the big difference is in Ajuka's pocket. This player played so well in game 2 and is already this much of a gold difference should be able to give him the commanding difference in the top lane fight against the set. As we see Smoke playing it well, actually landing the true damage on the backside of the team fight with the face breaker.
I feel like Divine Sunder being removed as an item really hurt Jax's ability to look for those type of 1v1s in the top lane, and so I feel like the set will be able to trade out just for now. But I mean, Trinity Force online for the Jax, I think that'll be a big difference maker now in the trades for sure.
Check myself there real quick. The true damage is on Haymaker.
Yes.
You have Face Breaker and Haymaker. Essentially, Set just wants to punch you really hard.
Yep, as one does. I mean, it's really very satisfying when you punch something really hard. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
100%. We do see a bit of a roam from Troll here to the top side. Could look for a play.
Yeah, Juka going in aggressive, but this wave has been frozen here so close to Juka's tower that he's not really under any threat and can farm up in peace.
Yeah, there's not much you can really do here if you're Smoke. I mean, again, just falling behind on the set now. 0-2 at this point. As Ajuka...
Yeah, and with the Triforce is finished, so these fights are going to look so commanding until Smoke is able to get an item completed.
I feel like this is almost the moment where Ajuka wants to push the lane out as much as possible and then look to roam bot side, because Drake is due to respawn within the next 40 seconds or so. And so could potentially see a roam from him.
I was gonna say, you want to establish this slow push. You don't want to crash just one wave of 6 minions. If you do that, Smoke is just going to fall right behind you and be there for the fight. Build up a big wave, maybe trade a little bit, see if you can kill him yourself, and then move down to the map while Smoke is on a gray screen here. But of course, that takes some time.
Well, with both bot laners backing, it might just be a concession of the Drake here. Hero Joe has established himself around this Drake so far. With
Going in very aggressive, Kizak goes into the smoke, but can't find the Ninja Star onto Senja.
Ooh, Ajuka playing aggressively, gets the stun, and suddenly could have it, but no, the Haymaker gets the shield. They will not get that one, but Drake is on the table for TSI.
Falling down so fast as soon as Brennan got the Ash Volley activated. Lux all the last minute hope thrown out.
Oh, thought that might land.
Oh.
I think it was aimed towards Kizak, but thought that might land towards topside instead.
It's one of those moments where if it lands on either one of those players, it looks really scary
Here we go.
for them. Paranoia going down onto the Caitlyn. They're gonna grab the tower, but I don't know if they're gonna grab any kills on the backside of it. Mr. Miyagi falls down first as Revenge is next to fall. Yes, they got the tower, but they're gonna lose their lives and they're gonna lose a tower of their own.
Yeah, even just with the one Void Grub here, I feel like Brendan will have the damage. No, they'll back instead because Rift Herald is on the table, and that's where the side of Infernia have gone to. They've gone towards this Herald instead to just try and get an objective back in their favor.
You got the Void Grubs, get the Rift Herald, start grabbing some towers.
I feel like you have to. I feel like you have to start looking for side lane pressure at this point if you're Infernia. You've just kind of let your bot lane go at this point. Like, I feel like the Ashe is just out of control. The Jax is also out of control. Maybe you look mid instead, as Troll will ult here, looking for a Juka.
Yeah, there it comes. The Root trying to flash over. Didn't find it. Pops the ultimate to get bonus for resistance. Might get a 2-man stun here. Troll knocks him away so he can't find it, but still will be able to get out of the fight.
Wow.
Well played.
I mean, Ajuka just playing with confidence. Yes, the flash doesn't work out, but he kind of sticks around, and he's still sticking around. He's like, look, are you going to look at me again? That's fine. Keep doing that, because the rest of my team is just looking to farm. The longer you're here, the less that, or the more that rift goes to waste. And now it's Hero Joe in that top side. Does have ultimate available. Could look for the set, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Talking about it, they do it, and they're not even going to be able to trade this away. The fear stops it. Duke has one hit. Flash forward. He grabbed it. And Troll gets to this team fight. Can't get there in time to save Smoke, but will be able to run this out as Caitlyn and Lux are arriving.
Assault didn't land, and that's the call to back away for Infernia. But that's a massive shutdown onto Ajuka. And suddenly Infernia, they have an avenue, not necessarily back into the game, but they've got some good kills. So now
that's a 600 gold bounty going over to Smoke to just even out the matchup. So at this point, it's going to become a skill matchup. Who plays the 1v1 more? Because I think they're going to continue to be locked in that. Oh, another minion. Pop Blossom, flash forward, found two. That Sid flashes forward to stun up another one. Revenger goes down as Brendan is still alive.
Just once again, the roaming minion, the roaming canyon minion makes its way mid, and the flash ultimate from Sinja makes the play work, as Brendan has to be a little careful. I think he's okay here, more than likely.
It's the play that TSI needed to snowball some gold into Brendan's pocket, going to get another stack on to the Dark Seal for Sinja. 1-0 and 4. Nico is online and can almost win a team fight for you if that Pop Blossom is used wisely.
Miyagi gonna fall down here. That's a beautiful communicated combo from Brendan and Hero Joe. The Ashe Nocturne ults. Just once again, long range CC finds a carry all on their own, and the fight's not even over yet. Hero Joe has to flash away. Smoke is here in mid, trying to get this Rift Herald under the tower, but they may not even get it.
Yeah, they didn't find the phrase breaker there to engage the fight, so Smoke just stands there while Sid runs away.
I mean, what a performance so far from Hero Joe. I feel like we haven't given this man enough credit on this Nocturne pick, especially. I mean, game number 1 obviously didn't have the best performance on the Viego, but games 2 and 3, this guy has shown up. He is constantly getting to a backline carry to assassinate them as much as possible. And I mean, what beautiful communication from Brendan and Hero Joe. Just to iterate that again, because that's a long range Ashe ult, and the call is made like, look, if this hits, go. If it doesn't, look, that's it. We'll try again when my Ashe ult is back up. But they find the ultimate and they predict it beautifully, does Brendan. And it's just another kill that opens up this mid lane and continues to let the team of TSI snowball here on the map. It's starting to get a little out of control.
Yeah, it's not just opening up the mid lane, it's opening up the entire game, as now they have a big gold lead in their favor. 3k gold up, and we talked about how both teams have kind of failed to stop the bleeding in previous games. TSI is the one doing that, so Infernia have to make an adaptation between what they did in game 2 to what they do here to prevent this loss from coming through.
Well, they will start with vision around the Drake, so they know this is happening, as Bloodline could be in trouble here, but Joe goes to the back line.
You engaged onto the support, and that's not what you wanted. Hero Joe finds the kill on Revenger to start the fight, as Ajuka secures another. Miss Mirahagi is down. Smoke's the only person left. As Pop Blossom finds Smoke, they're trying to just keep their own players alive. As Ajuka goes farther into the backline to zone Kizak away, and Smoke is left all alone in a 1v3.
Brendan does fantastic work there, just skirting the edge of the team fight, not letting Mr. Miyagi get involved, looking for any other carries there. And it's Ajuka who shows up late with a TP, finds the 80 carry. Kizak has to be careful here. Ajuka not going to keep going, but Drake, third one of the game, will go the way of TSI. But more importantly, it's a 4.9k gold lead in their favor at this point. They're starting to fall.
You have the Drake lead. You were about to say it and I cut you off. They are falling apart.
Yep. It's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand for Infernia. The kills read 14-3 in I was about to say 13, but no, 14-3 in favor of TSI. It's only 3 kills. You haven't gotten anything on your table. As another Ashall comes in, and this could be the execution call we just saw.
Oh, and the stun coming out from Sid.
The cleanse this time around, and so Caitlyn not gonna fall down like last time, and has the support nearby for backup as well. But that summoner is down, and that's all that play I think is there for. You could do that. No summoners were wasted in that play, just ultimates, and that's okay. You're not really fighting for anything right now. You're just kind of taking your time. You're looking to pull summoners because in the next ultimate rotation next time around, if they have no summoners and you get a pick, that's suddenly a Baron play that you can look for. "21 minutes in, and TSI have looked very impressive so far in this game number 3. They have been dominant. And so it makes you wonder what game number 1 is like.
For Juka, watch this health bar just start to go down so quickly. Yes, you have the haymaker, but it doesn't really change the outcome of the fight. Smoke, you need help to stop this push.
I feel like Kizak has not made the same level of play as their game number 1 performance on the Swain. The Akali and the Pantheon, they haven't had the same level of performance, and I almost wondered, like, at what point does this Akali supposed to get involved? I mean, they have the Storm Surge online. They're farming for that second item, which I assume is a Shadow Flame. At what point does the Akali make the impact that it needs to?
It could be right now. Sid is nowhere to be found, and you need to play away from the Leona. Find that pick when Leona isn't there. But you gotta be careful. You actually see it right here, and we'll see if they see it. That is Senja moving around the map looking really weird. That's not a minion.
The roaming minion once again, and I feel like it's a bit of a mental tactics at this point for TSI.
If it works, don't fix it. He's caught them out twice in the minion form, going to continue trying to attempt for it. So silly. It's so silly. Like, why is there a minion? Like, I get it. Like, you know, there's 6 minions there's 7 instead of 6 in the mid wave. Why are you moving around the jungle as we see Ash Arrow go wide?
And so there's that again. That's what that play is there for. They got the summoners. They're gonna try and execute the same play again onto the AD carry, but Ash Arrow just goes a little wide, and so now you're forced to kind of slow down and wait for that Ash ult yet again.
It's slow and steady. TSI just continues to wait it out. Wait until Brennan has the Ashe ultimate available to engage here. Even as Senja finds a route here, they don't pull the trigger. Just a little bit of poke. They're waiting for Ashe ultimate to make a play happen again, which asks the question, if you're on Infernia, what are you trying to make a play with? What are your kind of triggers you can pull and say, let's go now?
I'm going to be honest. I don't know if you're looking to make a play at all. I feel like with the cleanse just about to come up for Mr. Miyagi, you're just taking your time. You're happy to farm in whatever lane you can find right now. You're looking to try and catch up in gold, finish some of these important items. I mean, this is likely I believe this is an Infinity Edge for Mr. Miyagi second. I feel like that's a massive spike for the Caitlyn, a must-have spike at this point. And if it's not online yet, the Caitlyn will not do the amount of damage that is needed, I think, for this character.
Did finish up the Titanic Hydra for set. So that's one player on their team that is on the 2-item spike, but you probably need the Caitlyn to be on a 2-item spike too. As TP and Paranoia are popped, TSI is going now. Arrow lands onto Revenge. Mr. Miyagi has to blow the flash, but created enough space. He picks off Jojo, and now TSI is going to be in big danger. Kizak comes online as Brendan falls next. Ajuka is blocking the auto attacks, but can't find any TPS to stop this. TSI fell apart, and Infernia is back in the game. Ajuka picks off one, but might be trading his life away from it. Again, nobody is getting onto Mr. Miyagi is still alive. Senja finally snipes him down from downtown, but Smokes had enough. He goes in the back line. They finally kill off Ajuka, and there are players still alive. Smoke should clean this one up, as Sid is going to be worn down slowly. He has resistances, but no damage.
I mean, it looks like they're going to look towards the Baron. No, they're not. I imagine they're pinging Dragon right now. Brendan and Nocturne are up, though, and Brendan will have ult, and Nocturne's coming close to an ult. I don't know if you can get this Dragon if you're Infernia. I mean, it's a fantastic play. It looked like the fight was over, but Miyagi gets some really important auto attacks, and shoutouts to Kizek as well. He gets to the Ashe, the much needed pick needed to happen. It wasn't a kill, but it got him low enough that they could finish it off with a long range Caitlyn auto attack. As Hero Joe is here, the Ashe ult goes wide, and that's a big deal.
It's not available for this fight as the damage keeps coming through. And now Hero Joe down to about 25% health. He is in damage as the smite goes over to Troll here. They don't get it.
Suddenly, Infernia, they got a little bit of pep in their step. The Infinity Edge is finished for Miyagi. The Shadow Flame finished for Kizek. It seems like they got a little bit of fight potential in them now. And I almost wonder if this is a bit of a misstep from TSI, is being so hell-bent on finding that perfect execution play rather than forcing them to really fight into your lead around objectives. Maybe it's a little too late for TSI. I don't think they're out of the game yet, but Infernia are certainly back in it, and that's never a good sign. If you have control of the game, you have such a commanding lead, and you're in a really good spot, and suddenly the game is pulled away from you, it could be a little damaging on your mentals. TSI have to mentally reset here, I think, before the next fight.
Yeah, you lost the team fight, you lost the objective, so maybe Infernia finally found the secret sauce to stop the bleed. A lot of that gold went to places it needed. Mr. Miyagi picking up 2 kills, Smoke picking up 1 of his own. These are your DPS units. And Mr. Miyagi, we talked about him, how he plays so well sometimes, shouting back to his Callista game during week 1, that this might be his bounce back. This Caitlyn might be the pick that he needed to perform. The net kind of pushback, creating the space when Hero Joe jumps on top of him. He might stay alive and then dish out some massive DPS.
Cleanse available to the Caitlyn as well, which is a big deal. We saw those combos have huge success in the early game. Not so much success now in the mid game. I feel like we haven't seen that combo in a hot second, and part of that is just the items are just too impactful now at this point. It's really hard as Sinja finds the Caitlyn very quickly. 100 to 0's her. Cleanse did not matter.
Blown up. Yeah, I like that you point it out. We did have a Thunder spell used, and it just created 0 difference. Sinja being the player to make the difference here during the mid game. It's what he did with the Katarina. He's doing it on the Nico.
I'm gonna have to go back and look at that play. Where did Sinja come from?
Oh, do you not know?
Is he just a minion and he just walked up?
He's just a minion.
He just played that so well against Mr. Miyagi. Caught him snoozing, I guess. Mr. Miyagi goes, there's one more minion here. I guess I'll farm this creep and give me some XP and gold. And Sinja says, you what, mate? And just drops the ult right away. Forces the cleanse. Revenger watches. There's nothing he can do. And sure enough, suddenly it's a good pick in favor of TSI. Mr. Miyagi is back up, but I mean, Sinja, if he keeps making plays like that, I feel like it's going to be really hard.
It doesn't make a big difference. It doesn't secure an objective, but it's just a morale boost.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they don't just immediately go Dragon there. I mean, yes, Troll is on the map, and you really don't use a lot. They use Pop Blossom. That was it. And yes, that's a big ultimate that you kind of want for your team fights. But I mean, honestly, like, you have the burn at this point. You got Rageblade, you got Kraken Slayer, you got Storm Surge, Eclipse Online for Hero Joe. You got some good Baron burn. Instead, they're just going to play this nice and slow. They've accumulated a 4K gold lead at this point as Ajuka nearly gets that solo kill there. Oh, here we go again.
There's the ultimate combo. The arrow did go wise, but it's another flash. Mr. Miyagi just is not allowed to have a summoner spell up at any point. Every time it's up, he blows it. That's going to be another 2-minute timer that TSI is able to make whatever call they want. But Kizak, is going to find the pick. Caitlyn ultimate, do I do it? Oh!
Revenger finds the snipe on the Lux. And I mean, this is suddenly a moment for Infernia. They're walking towards this Baron with commanding presence. A kill on Hero Joe means no smite away potential. And this is the type of pick you want.
You have to take the team fight if you're going to stop this objective. Ajuka's on the top side. They have the nice pinch.
Where's Sinja?
He's in a minion. He's moving around, but a minion in the river just looks really goofy. Surely they don't fall for this. They don't. That's going to be a clone. I got tricked out myself here. Coming into the backside. Pop, lost, and flash in.
Ooh.
Only found 3, but Ajuka is the one who finds Mr. Miyagi. AT carry is down as Infernia is trying to pick up the scraps, but Brendan is still alive. Into the back line, but Ajuka with a big man double steal. AD carry is still alive, and TSI is going to come out ahead. They stopped the Baron buff. They're going to be able to secure it for their own as Smoke cannot find Brendan.
Sinja gives his life away, but it does not matter. Infernal Drake on the table for TSI to take, and with Hero Joe up, they could just head straight to Baron afterwards. Kind of surprised they don't go Baron here, but I feel like at this point they are in that state of mind where they're like, look, we have to scale. We have to be, we can't afford to go any, like, if we are going to go to this late game, we have to have the tools we need. As third Drake, or sorry, what are we at? 5th Drake of the game will go the way of TSI. Soul point as Ajuka gets caught in mid. 50 seconds, that's a huge death timer.
Dude, every time I think this game goes in the favor of one person, we have a very small play like that just keeps the hope alive.
That was a lot of cinders also picked up for the likes of Revenger and some for Mr. Miyagi. Again, it's not huge buffs, but they do like stack. Like the more you get, the more they stack up, you know, like the more you get, the better it is.
Yeah, if you just have 5 of them, it does not feel that much like a difference maker, but get to that 20, 23
19.
range. Yeah, it's close enough. You feel the difference. Oh, is that 19 on the Lux?
Yes, 19 on the Lux.
What can you hover? What's the Lux ultimate cooldown at this point?
36.85.
36 seconds on Revenger here for the Lux ultimate. So can use it at the start of the fight and use it at the end of the fight to put a period on it too. Just small details like that, but that can be make or break. You know, we saw there, it's the ultimate that picked off Ajuka at the end of it.
Hero Joe is alive, and so is Ajuka now. Hero Joe has to be careful, has to avoid this Q, and does not, but just jukes the ultimate there. Good movement from the Nocturne. Love to see that.
Ajuka has the TP advantage, so we have a split push being established for TSI, and this is the kind of open map that they've been performing well with, because if somebody moves down to answer Ajuka, leave Mr. Miyagi alone, you know that Paranoia is coming out for that Caitlyn, so you need to be really, really cautious about when you split up, when you answer Ajuka, that you're not leaving Caitlyn all alone.
Speaking of leaving alone, Sinja on his own. Kizak is here.
Might be looking to play here. Guessed on what's the right clone, but there's the Paranoia. Health bar drops so quickly.
And that'll be the go button there for TSI.
It's finally the Baron call for TSI after getting that pick. Kizak thought he had Sinja picked out, but did not respect the Nocturne. Couldn't come out from anywhere to support his split pusher. Baron buff already down to 50% health. Troll is here. The Smite Steal might come through. Ashiel was blown out early just to stop the Smite Steal from coming through, but Smoke arrives, and people are dying already. Hero Joe goes down first. Brendan's the next one on the table. And Troll is finding kills, and into the backline. Smoke goes to kill off the rest of TSI.
I mean, that Revenger, man, you got to give so much credit to that Lux player just now. That was a massive ultimate, followed up by a 2-man Q root in place. I mean, that might have just won them the game just now. Sinja, the only one out there. And it's just stuck in base all on his own. Just the lone minion.
The lone minion in the base.
Wow. What a bounce back from Infernia. And I was kind of worried a little going into this game number 3. Like, hey, you know, games 1 and 2 were kind of not stomps, but they were definitely favored towards one side. This time around, it could be anyone's game. Baron buff and Baron power play obviously going the way of Infernia here. So they have tempo advantage. Like to see them continue to push their lead here.
Yeah, another big team fight like that could mean the game. However, for TSI, they've been able to have the split push advantage here, so they're gonna need to group and make a very decisive play, make a call if they're able to benefit off this Baron buff. Because if TSI answer the side lanes like they have been, it's just gonna dissipate. But still, just such an impressive team fight. Smoke and Troll set up that front line so well that Mr. Miyagi was free firing from the back line, Brendan all alone in that Baron pit. It felt like, even though he had teammates around him, Smoke got to him so freely.
I feel like the problem there was that they were too grouped. I mean, we saw that Lux ult hit 3 or 4 people all at once. Yeah, it was massive, and so it's very hard for TSI to really. Oh, big combo hits as bot side Nocturnal comes through. It's no usage.
They're looking for the Kizak as soon as he pops out of the invis. There's the ultimate. Found Mr. Miyagi blowing flash and cleanse. Talk about how Mr. Miyagi has not been allowed to have thunder spells available. But Syndra stuck all alone with smoke. 2 kills coming over.
That's
TSI's falling apart. Kizak is going to be the one to go into the back line. I don't know. The AD carry is still alive if they overextend here.
I think that's game. You have Baron power play here. I mean, look at the death timers as well. 30 seconds on the nearest, and that's Sid. Hero Joe doesn't have ultimate. Brendan doesn't have ultimate. Brendan does have summoners, yes. As does Hero Joe.
Look at that health bar on Smoke. They could dive so easily if Brendan oversteps. Flash is available here. They have to play so carefully.
Nope,
and it's going to be Hero Joe overextended, going to the Nocturne, just feeds himself into the team. And Infernia grabs the game here. Shut them out in playoffs or showing up in Season 3. TSI goes to middle of the pack as Infernia stands up on the standings 2-0 after tonight.
I mean, what a fantastic performance out of both teams, honestly. But I mean, it's Infernia who comes away with the victory. Not clean, but it's a victory nonetheless, and you'll take that. Holy cow, what a game. I mean, that's what you love to see. Very back and forth action on both sides. I mean, moments of victory. I mean, we look at that game. I mean, we were writing kind of the memorial of Infernia early into that game. They were kind of not locked out of the game, but they were getting pummeled into the dirt for a long period of time. They managed to fight back with such tenacity. Just, oh, what a performance for that game.
And it's the players who have been performing all league long for Infernia. Smoke and Mr. Miyagi coming out on top of the damage charts. That Caitlyn gameplay, yes, was using the summoner spells, but stayed alive, especially in that mid fight in the blue side, you know, creating so much different distance between himself and Hero Joe using the net. Mr. Miyagi definitely showed up in this game, but it was the Smoke show in game 3. That set did not allow Brendan to play the game once we got to late game team fights.
I mean, you say the set show. I want to say it's the Lux show. I mean, that's arguably why they won and got back into this game, is those massive ultimates in the mid to late game, especially, as well as the Qs. Those long range CCs were huge and very impactful in locking down targets. And so what a good job from Revenger. I would say Revenger is my MVP for that game, especially. I feel like he made so many highlight reel moments in that late game. Just got it done in the end and helps his team get to the victory they needed today.
They found it, so this puts them up there 2-0, standing at the top of Season 3. We will conclude there. Thank you guys for tuning in with us as Infernia showed themselves to be the top 3 in Season 3.